Okay. So, module 3 natin is, guys, you can, ano na nga pala, you can turn off your webcam na kung gusto niya, no? Okay. So, ang module 3 natin is polymodeling, no? And as you can see, part 1 lang to kasi we'll be doing a three-part discussion of polymodeling until next week, no? Next week part 2 and then the week after that is part 3. Ay, wait, teka lang guys ah. No, so again guys, ako nga pala guys, I do also recommend kung may extra device kayo on hand ngayon, like your phone, open nyo rin yung presentation nyo para tawag doon, magkasabay tayong nag-aaral, no? So, like any other of our presentations, may mga topic shortcuts tayo. We have our cheat sheet of the week, we have our terms to remember, etc., no? So, yon. Our cheat sheet of the week, compared sa Blender, sa 3ds Max, ang magiging natin sa cheat sheet of the week, there's really nothing new. There's really nothing new na nadagdag dito other than yung insert edge loop, no? Yun lang naman ang nadagdag sa ating cheat sheet of the week, tsaka yung pag-turn on natin ng wireframe, no? Tsaka yung edge faces. Yun lang naman, guys. Sa Blender, sa Blender? Sa Blender naman, medyo madami-dami din na dagdag sa atin, no? We have our insert edge loop, our edit previous edge loop. We have your maximize restore panel. Never mind. I think ko na rin yun. We have your isolate selection. We have your merge objects. We have your duplicate. We have your cap, merge vertices, inset polyfaces, and then chamfer, no? So Blender people, tayo? Check nyo rin yan, ha? Habang nagdi-discuss ako. But don't worry guys, palipat-lipat naman ako habang dinademo ko yung mga functions na gagawin natin for this meeting, no? Don't worry guys. Okay? So ito naman, mga terms to remember natin. We have polymodeling, we have sculpting, we have mesh, we have assets, we have low poly models, we have geometry, extrusion, and then edge loops, no? So ito mga mga terminology na to also super important sa industry, lalo na sa game development, which is heavily focused sa paggawa ng mga poly models, no? So mamaya i-discuss ko yan no? Okay, so introduction to polymodeling. So polymodeling is what all 3D artists should learn first if they want a career in 3D design in the world's leading industries. By polymodeling, you can create almost anything you can think of course, with the right resources and references. It is also the most used modeling process or technique in any 3D industry due to its freedom to create almost any object. So polymodeling, this is gonna be your bread and butter talaga when you're taking up a career in 3D design. You cannot take a career in 3D design without learning polymodeling, no? Because ito talaga yung pinaka-ginagawa nyo. Sa game development, ganito gagawin mo. Sa commercial, gagawa ka ng mga mock-up products, yan ang gagawin mo. So, it all starts here talaga. Your career as a 3D artist, dito kayo magsisimula talaga, no? Sa polymodeling, no? So, of course, meron din tayong nagkakaroon ng conflict, no, between polymodeling versus sculpting, lalo na if recently nagba-browse kayo ng mga sa mga community like sa Reddit, there's a bit of a conflict between polymodeling and sculpting. So ano nga ba talaga ang kailangan natin i-prioritize? Polymodeling ba? Sculpting? Ano bang mas effective na technique? Polymodeling ba or sculpting? Kasi in a sense, polymodeling and sculpting are relatively the same, pero both produces two different outputs, no? So ano yung muna natin to? Let's try to break it down, no? Polymodeling and sculpting. So sa polymodeling, it is good for creating assets in any computer. You have complete freedom to edit your geometry as you edit your mesh, can create any object with no consequences. You have full control over your topology and geometry as you model and edit your mesh, can easily change in between low and high poly or combine both to better optimize your assets. Easily optimize your assets by optimizing, yun yung pag-lessen natin ng mga poly counts, no? Or yung mga polyfaces or yung overall geometry ng ating 3D model, no? So, ano nga ba yung geometry sa 3D, no? It's not the geometry na math, no? It's completely different, no? Geometry is a 3D design is composed of yung vertices, edges, and then yung mga faces natin or yung mga polys natin. And under polys, you have two kinds, no? You have your normal faces, three kinds pala. You have your normal faces, you have your tris, and then you have your n-gons, no? That composes yung geometry of a 3D model. Vertices, yung mga points natin in each in a polyface. Edges, self-explanatory, yung mga segments or yung mga lines na nagko-connect between vertices. And then yung faces natin, which is yung combined three or more na edges to form a face, no? So, ang maganda sa poly modeling kasi, yun nga yun, na madali natin ma-fully control yung overall geometry natin as we not only we create our model but also in editing, no? During editing, during optimizing, madali natin maaayos yan compared to sculpting, no? Natin mamaya kung bakit. Next, most softwares has the function to retopologize your asset to better optimize your assets. Ano nga ba yung topology, no? So, in a sense, topology is yung overall look ng geometry natin, no? We have to have proper topology to actually get clean renders and clean animations for your model, no? So babalikan rin naman natin tong topology. We'll focus that sa next meeting, no? Next meeting yan. Next is polymodeling excels in creating game-ready assets. It also excels in character modeling, especially when you plan to rig and animate the model. Kaya nga nagkakaroon siya ng nag-excel sila sa character modeling, and basically overall kahit anong model is because that we have full control nga over how we edit our topology and our geometry. So that is polymodeling, no? So ano ba pinagkaiba niya sa sculpting, no? So sculpting kasi only good for high-end commuters due to the amount of polys you create. Kasi yan yung ginagawa natin na sculpting, like for example sa ZBrush or sa Blender, when you create a base object, instead na yung let's say gumawa ka ng isang sphere. Yung isang sphere na yon can contain millions and millions of polys, hindi mo lang notice yon. So when you're sculpting, lalo na sa computer, it is highly recommended na medyo beefy yung PC mo, no? So para to prevent from crashing your software, no, or overall your computer. Kasi the higher the polys you have or the higher the geometry you have, bumabagal din yung computer natin, nag-waste siya ng memory sa ating computer, no? So that's one thing na downside ng sculpting. You have to have a high-end computer talaga. Next, sculpting excels in creating super intricate details. So, mga details like, for example, mga scratches, yung mga mga bumps, or like for example, when you're creating an organics and you're trying to make an arm, pwede mong gawin yung texture mismo ng skin, or pwede mong gawin din yung yung ugat ng tao, no? So, yun, that's how sculpting can be really useful when you're creating high quality models then, no? So yeah, excels in making high quality, high poly models, no? Because of the details that you can see when you're sculpting, no? Only limitation is your imagination. Sculpting can create any objects as well, but topology and optimization is a nightmare. You have no full control over how your topology and geometry is edited, no? Kasi when you're sculpting, the software you're using already computes yung edits na ginagawa mo. Like for example, nag-slice lang ako ng konti dun sa base object na yun. By just slicing doon, na-edit na yung buong geometry ng object na yun. And thus, yung software na mismo na compensate on how the topology will work dun sa new edited object na yun. No? So we have no full control talaga other than yung talaga natin, pag-optimize natin ng objects during polymodeling na yun. No? And sculpting only suitable for creating models you wish to showcase or for concept art. Like for example, sa mga current games natin ngayon, minsan may mga option tayo to view yung character models or yung mga basic model, yung mga models ng game, no? Like for example, sa The Last of Us 2, we have the option to view yung mga models, no? So, dun you may think na yung view natin dun sa sa showcase na yon is the same model sa sa mismong in-game na natin, no? In-game model, but it's actually two different models. Sure it would look alike, pero hindi lang natin napapansin, but it's actually a collaboration between polymodeling and sculpting na, no? Yung mga nakikita naman nga lang natin sa showcase, yun na yung doon na pumapasok yung sculpting kasi syempre, may tendency tayo. Syempre, kailangan natin i-zoom para ma-appreciate ba natin yung full details ng sculpt natin, di ba? So, yun na yun. Yung characters, yung naman natin, like I said nga, yung model na ginagamit naman natin sa mga games, it's just a combination between yung low poly version ng model na yon and then yung high poly which is yung sa sculpt natin, no? So ano nga ba yung low poly and high poly? Mamaya di-discuss natin yon, no? We'll be discussing low poly, mid poly, and high poly. Like I said, despite the differences of both modeling techniques, from time to time they do work together very well, especially when we're dealing with UVs or textures. Doon na pumapasok yung pagbe-bake natin ng high poly model as a texture for our low poly models, no? It is only up to the user on when to use polymodeling and sculpting by considering what you need for a project, the equipment they have available, and time frame in which you need your asset to be completed. Ito in the POV na to ng when you're trying to receive clients, no? So, ikaw na mismo ang mag-iisip kung ano ba kailangan mo. Ano ba kailangan mo? Like for example, yung current client mo, they wish to have a set of assets, no, for their game, no? High quality assets. So, iisipin mo rin, ano ba yung hardware na gamit nila? Ano yung engine yung gagamitin nila? So, once you have those factors lined up, doon ka lang magde-decide kung ano ang gagawin mo. Should you do sculpting or should you do polymodeling? Doon sa case na yon, yung client na yon, since gusto niya ng mga game-ready assets, magpo-polymodeling na tayo. Dahil yun nga, other than sa freedom ng pag-edit natin ng geometry, madali natin ma-optimize while modeling mismo yung mismong model natin. Compared sa sculpting na mag-i-sculpt ka pa, saka mo pa lang i-optimize at saka doon mo pa lang mag-clean up ka lang ng topology, no? So, yun nga, nakaka-lessen din ng time din yung polymodeling, no? So, yun na yan. Any questions, guys, before we start sa discussion natin sa polymodeling? May questions? May interesting questions ba kayong naiisip? Wala? No questions? None? Okay. So, start na tayo. Polymodeling, no? So for part 1, we'll be discussing the core of polymodeling and better understand how we create models and how much geometry do we need in creating objects. For this module, we'll be tackling on low to mid poly models by learning how we add geometry and edit them to align it with our reference image, no? So guys, starting now, please open your softwares, 3ds Max and Blender, no? So para makatag doon. I'll be for now rin naman, I'll just be doing a demonstration yung mga sa pag-add on how we can add geometry and how yung paano natin sila may edit, no? So open your softwares, guys. So we can start, no? Habang nagdi-discuss ako. So, start muna tayo sa low poly models. So, yun nga, as the name suggests, low poly models has the lowest count ng polys or geometry it could possibly have, no? Ito rin yung tinatawag natin sa mga recent natin ngayon, yung quote-unquote PS1 graphics, no? Because tawag doon, essentially, it's literally the yung mga PS1 models na natin if you manage to play a PS1, no? So, yun na yun. Yung like for example, yung sa N64 din, those are low poly models, no? Like yung Super Mario 64, no? Those are mga low poly models. Low poly models are also perfect assets for mobile games due to its poly count and almost repercussions to the gaming engine. Since sobrang mababa yung geometry and yung poly count ng mga low poly models, it's actually super perfect where when we're making mobile games. Yun, Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider, yung classic na Tomb Raider, no? Yung blocky na Tomb Raider. Yeah, that's a perfect example, no? So like I said, low poly, perfect siya sa mobile games talaga. Siguro impossible nyo na rin naman hindi kayo makakita sa Facebook. Meron tayong mga super misleading apps minsan, no? Yung na ads ng mga nag-ano ng mga apps na super low poly yung itsura na sobrang cheap na tingnan, no? Those kahit man ganun yon, those are perfect examples sa mga low poly models, no? So, yun. Low poly models are rarely seen in today's industry other than the game industry since it is seen as more of a genre for the gaming community. And also, ang mga low poly models kasi mga currently ngayon, like yung super duper low poly models, mostly those are used mainly sa mga blackout face natin, no? So if you guys still remember yung blackout face natin, yun nga yung just making simple geometry or mga objects to create some form of the model that you wish to create, no? So those are low poly models, no? Next, mid poly models. Like the name suggests din, mid poly models, nandun siya sa neutral. It's not low poly but also not high poly either. Nandun it can also range from on the verge din siya to being a low poly and on the verge din to being a high poly. It all depends talaga sa model na ginagawa mo. Like for example dito, this is from a game called Genshin Impact, no? We have this we have this enemy, no? This yung topology na to, this is already a mid poly, no? Pero it's also on the verge na rin to high poly, no? So kasi dito sa part na to, dito tayo nagkakaroon na ng maraming polys, no, compared dito sa bottom na part ng ating enemy dito, doon siya medyo mababa yung ating poly count. Also mga mid poly models in most mga video games na nalalaro natin ngayon, like for example Valorant, Overwatch, etc., yung mga AAA console games, mostly yun ang gamit nila ng mga models, mid poly models, no? Kasi doon na yung ang nangyayari sa mid poly models sa mga game development, dalawa yung version na ginagawa nila ng character. Number one is yun nga, mid-poly models natin. And then yung isa, high-poly models natin. Yun yung mga sculpting natin. Doon na rin pumapasok yung baking natin ng textures, no? Babalikan din natin yan sa 6 week, no? So, mid-poly models suitable for some mobile applications but can be restricting at times due to how strenuous it can get to the hardware. Ayun nga, perfect example din yung Genshin Impact if naglalaro kayo sa mobile game. Yung gamit nila are all mid-poly models din, and at times din talaga while we're playing on our mobile phones, may times din talaga na natural na maglalag because the game is not really suited for mobile game talaga. Yung mga assets na nilagay nila, it's not really suited for a mobile port of the game, no? So, yun yung naging konting backlash ng mga mid-poly models sa mga mobile games. Kasi since it's mostly designed for mga consoles or sa mga higher spec na hardware, no? Most common mid-poly models are character models and environment depending on the aesthetic you choose to present, no? Syempre, hindi naman nalilimit lang naman sa character models and environment niyan. Pwede rin naman sa mga basic objects, pwede natin magkakaroon din tayo ng mga mid-poly nun, no? It doesn't limit lang rin. Pero mga most common occurrence talaga ng mga mid-poly models is yun nga, characters and yung environment, no? Okay? So guys, open na yung ano nyo, model nyo. Before modeling setup, any questions guys? May questions kayo? No questions? No questions. Okay, so modeling setup, no? Syempre, before we model, no, dapat, like I said before sa ano natin, module 1 natin, kailangan, dapat organized tayo. Lalo na when we're working professionally, no? We have to get super organized talaga. So, ito yung inano ko. I'll be just sharing with you yung usually na ginagawa ko if I'm working on a different software other than Maya, no? So, for 3ds Max and Blender, they should apply as well, no? So, number 1 is yun nga, project management natin, no? So, kung tatandaan nyo pa guys kung paano mag-project management sa 3ds Max, so punta tayo sa file, punta tayo sa project, and then create empty, no? So, once you create empty, mapupunta kayo sa desktop nyo or sa default directory ng current directory nyo. Kayo, hanap na lang kayo kung saan yung gusto ilagay yung folder nyo or whatever, and then just select folder. Na manonotice nyo, itong sa ano natin, may mga folder na ako dito sa project folder ko. I have my assets, I have my images, I have my render data, scene assembly, scenes, and then scripts. No? Relatively, it's still this. Ganito rin naman ko sa Blender, pero except na scripts, I have my add-ons, no? Pero in most cases naman, kung mag-install kayo ng add-ons, just put them all in one folder lang naman, no? So this doesn't really matter rin naman kung lalagay niya yan. Pero ako personally, since sa Maya nag-meld din ako, so I tend to have this talaga, no? So sa assets, we have your export and import, no? So like for example, merong na kayong current active model, ilagay niyo lang dito to organize your stuff, no? So yung export natin, dito mo ilalagay yung mga in-export mo na model sa current project mo. And then sa import, yung mga other na assets na ginawa mo na previously, dito mo copy lang diyan, no? So that's what I do. So I'm just teaching guys on what I do, no? So it's up to you guys kung gusto niyo i-follow tong yung project management ko. It's completely up to you, no? I'm just sharing you what I do sa project management ko and yung thought process ko on each folder. Next, assets, we have your images. So under images, we have 3 more folders. We have my references, textures, and then UV maps. References, self-explanatory. Textures, yun yung dito na yung mga final output nyo, yung final textures ng mga models mo. And then we have our UV maps, no? Here sa UV maps, dito ko nilalagay yung mga ina-export ko na UV maps from the software. So dito ko lang lalagay lahat, and then once I get my UV maps, import ko na sa Photoshop or any art software, and then kapag tapos na ako mag-texture doon, ililipat ko naman i-save ko naman yung output dito sa textures. Okay? Next, scene assembly. Dito sa scene assembly, dito ko nilalagay yung final output or yung final scene na ilalagay ko, no? So, dun ko na i-arrange lahat ng mga assets, lahat ng mga environment, etc. Next is scenes. Dito ko nilalagay lahat ng mga scenes ko, mga on separate files. One good practice na ginagawa ko is trying to make multiple files for each asset, no? Kasi when we're compiling multiple assets into one file, may tendency tayo na babagal yung computer natin, no? Lalo na kung medyo average build lang yung PC natin, no? So to prevent that, it's always good practice to make different files for different assets, no? For different scenes. Next, yun nga, scripts natin, di ko na explain yan kasi that's a bit more advanced stuff na yan. So yun lang naman. Once you created your project management folder, select folder, and then yun na yun. Napalitan na natin yung directory natin to this one, yung project folder natin. Balik natin sa Blender. Again guys, like I said last time, walang project management talaga ang Blender natin unless you're installing add-ons, no? syempre, meron ding mga add-ons din dyan somewhere, no? So, but kayo na bahala guys kung gusto nyo i-install. Pero, like I said, just try to make a folder na lang and try to get organized, no? Wala siyang very, systematic na project management like 3D, like sa mga Autodesk products natin, no? So, yun lang naman. Okay? So, yun yung modeling setup natin. Project management. Number 2, reference image. Mamaya, babalikan ko na lang yan. Babalikan na natin yan. Okay. Start na tayo sa sa main, main course. Poly editing. So, poly editing, sa 3ds Max, there are 2 ways we can start editing our object, no? So, right-click on your object or mesh and select Convert to Editable Poly, or select your object and press 2 to switch to the Edit tab and then add a Edit Poly modifier, no? We have already discussed this last meeting, no? So, this should be still fresh sa memory nyo. So, but again, i-demonstrate ko ulit. So, gawa lang ako ng object. Yan, pwede ko lang to. So, like I said, there are 2 ways. Pwedeng convert to editable poly, right-click natin, convert to editable poly, or punta kayo dito sa edit tab or yung modify tab natin, or shortcut natin, which is 2 sa keyboard. Press natin 2, switch natin doon, select natin tong modifiers list, and then add edit poly. But, pag gumagamit ka naman ng base object natin, it's okay naman na to right-click na lang and convert to editable poly because it's still just your base object, no? That's how you edit our poly. Sa Blender, completely different kasi it only takes 1 press ng button, no? So, select your object na gusto mong i-edit and then press tab. That's it. That's it. There's nothing special. Nagawa niyo na to countless times na panigurado. So, yun lang naman. That's it. Tab lang. And then, press tab again to go back to your object, no? Tapos, when you're selecting your specific part, like your vertices, your edge, your segments, or your face, they're all, sila sa 1, 2, and 3. 1 for vertex, 2 for edges, 3 for faces, no? Tapos, select mo na lang, no? Ganun lang yun, guys. That's how easy it is, no? Sa 3ds Max, ganun din. Kapag sa naka-editable poly ka na, you can press 1 for vertex, 2 for edges, 3 for borders, 4 for poly faces, and then 5 for element, no? Kapag nag-attach ka ng mga multiple objects into one. Pero just concern yourself with vertex 1, edge 2, and then faces 4. Okay? Yun lang naman. Yun lang yung pinaka magagamitin nyo sa poly editing. Yun lang. Okay? So, ito na tayo. Adding geometry. Okay. So, for starters, sa 3ds Max, pwede na tayong mag-add ng geometry while we're creating our base object pa lang, no? So, let's try to add the box again. So, balik ko lang sa 1. Gawin kong perfect square to. 30, 30, and then 30. So, sa base object pa lang nito, you can actually already add geometry via the segments, no? So, notice nyo dito sa cube na to, we have our length, we have our width and height segments, no? See what happens kapag nag-aano tayo. Oh, nga pala, before actually we do that, let's make sure, guys, please do follow me habang nagde-demo ako. Please follow me on how we to see our geometry, and it's always good practice to always enable this feature. Sa 3ds Max, para makita natin yung geometry natin, press natin F4 to add our edge, to turn on our edge faces, no? Or you can actually press dito sa top ng viewport natin dito, sa tabi ng standard, so may nakalagay dito. Press natin to and then click natin tong edge faces to add our edge faces. Or like I said, shortcut F4, no? F4 to turn on or off yung edge faces natin. So makita natin yung geometry. Now, see what happens kapag nagdagdag ako ng length, width, or height segment, no? So first muna sa length muna. Yun. So as you can see, nung nag-add ako ng one more segment, nagkaroon tayo ng line dito. This is what we call an edge loop, no? So by adding this edge loop, no, by adding this simple segment, nagdagdag na tayo ng isang geometry, no? So, teka, i-duplicate ko to. Copy. Then, notice nyo yung difference, no? So, ito, lalagyan ko ng edited poly. Lagyan ko ng editable poly. Before actually we do that, lagyan ko muna nito ng isang segment, no? So, ito, edit poly lang. As you can see, yung itong base cube natin, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no? And then 8 na vertices. But once you notice, nung nagdagdag tayo dito ng yung sa isang object natin ng isang segment or an edge loop, instead na 8 vertices, we've added 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So naging 12 na yung vertices natin. Pati yung faces natin nadagdagan, no? That's how you add geometry. So yan, no? Nadagdagan compared dito.
How do I add the geometry again yung
sa base object lang natin. So when before you create an edit poly, dito lang yung sa parameters lang ng box natin. Ayan, itong segments natin sa parameters. Yung segments lang natin. Yun lang rin yan. Yun lang yun. Length segments. That's how you add your geometry before turning your base object into an editable poly, no? So ganyan yan. So pwede natin dagdagan pa kung for more
add more lines
dito sa parameters. So before
parameters.
Sa parameters, no?
Okay, hold on.
Okay. So as you can see, like dito, ang dami na natin geometry. Nagdagdag pa tayo ng maraming vertices, no? So instead from this one simple face then, nagkaroon na tayo ng multiple faces, no? On one side, no? Compared dito na iisa lang. Ayan, nagkaroon na tayo ng multiple faces. That's how adding geometry works, no? Adding vertices, edges, or faces to the current objects, no? Pero sa case naman natin, we'll just be adding dito sa paggawa ng parameters dito. We're just basically adding yung mga edge loops natin dito to create more vertices, edges, and faces, no? That's one way. And that's yung pinaka-basic na ginagawa natin sa 3ds Max, no? Sa naman, however, sa Blender, you can't freely add segments, no? Mamaya babalikan natin on how we can add segments sa ating base object. Mamaya babalikan natin yon. So for now, continue muna tayo sa lecture, no? So, yun. Natin yung one way to add geometry sa base object before turning it into an editable poly. Okay? Balik tayo sa lecture. So, number 1 sa ating mga ways on how we can add geometry is number 1, extrusion. Na briefly discuss ko na to sa last week, briefly ko siya na-discuss. So, extrusion sa 3ds Max, first, you select your object, also make sure na editable poly siya, convert to editable poly. Ayan. So, after na-convert siya to editable poly, the only thing you can extrude sa 3ds Max is yung faces natin. So, press natin 4 to select our faces. So, first, let's say I want to extrude this one, no? So, to extrude this, you have 2 ways. Number 1 is yung extrude natin dito, no? You can manually extrude that there. Or, pwede rin natin, yung extrude natin, natin tong settings, no? Tong settings. And then, magpa-pop up tong window na to, no? Tong pop-up window na to. And then, you can type in your specific parameters. Let's say, 20 units. Yun. Actually do that. And the other way, other than dito sa edit polygons na to, which is what I've been teaching briefly last meeting, is just first select your face and then hold shift and then hold left click to extrude, no? Ganun lang yun. It's simple as that. And then pwede mo nang freely move yan after my extrude. So when we extrude, not only not only we are adding geometry, we're also adding dimensions to our base object. So from kanina, from simple cube, naging rectangular na siya, no? So that's how extrusion works, no? Sa Blender naman, sa Blender, it's much more easier than that, no? Sa Blender, you can actually, lahat ng parts ng ano natin, ng object, pwede natin ma-extrude except for vertex, no? Ang vertex kasi, it can only be extruded when we're working on curves or splines, no? So kung a solid 3D object to, we can only use faces. We can only extrude our faces and yung edges natin. So let's say I want to extrude this one, this face right here. To extrude your face sa Blender, press E, and that's it. Ganun lang yun. Ang nangyayari kasi, kaya diretso na yung ano natin, when you extrude an objects, when you extrude a selection in Blender, yung movement lang niya goes on the axis na kung saan nakaharap yung face na yon. Since itong face natin to, nakaharap siya sa z-axis, so basically, yung extrusion niya only sa z-axis, no? Like for ito naman dito. Ito nakaharap to sa y-axis natin. So when I press E, it can only go to the y-axis. Kahit anong gawin ko dyan, it only goes sa y-axis. Sa x-axis, same goes sa x-axis. Extrude E, ganun lang rin yan. Sa 3ds Max, it's ganun din naman, pero we have more freedom naman sa pag extrude, like ganyan. But yung way ng pag ganyan, that's bad practice, no? So when you're extruding, try to go along the direction kung saan nakaharap yung face nyo. So that's good practice, no? Never kayo mag-extrude ng pahaba, no? Always go along the direction kung saan nakaharap yung selection niya. Any questions, extrusion, before I move on? Before pala, i-demo ko pala tong, you can actually extrude edges, no? So select natin to. Let's say gusto kong i-extrude tong edge na to. Select ko yung edge. Same case, press E to extrude. Only difference lang nito, since sa edge kasi, when we're extruding edges, yung movement nito is free-form movement na because it's not part of any axis talaga, no? It can be a part of the X or pwedeng like for example dito, pwede siyang maging part ng Z, pwede rin sa Y, no? Pwede rin sa X. So, it has no axis to follow. So, ang nangyayari dyan, nagkakaroon lang tayo ng free-form movement. Ang pwede lang natin magawa dyan to actually remedy that, press natin X, Y, or Z depending on kung saang axis gusto mo siya i-move. So let's say gusto ko sa y-axis. So I press Y and then I can instantly constrain my movement sa y-axis lang. So gusto ko naman to sa z-axis. Press ko Z. Ayan. Sige na. Okay. May questions ba guys? 3ds Max, Blender, before I move on to the next way to add more geometry. No questions, guys? No questions?
Sir, excuse me po.
Yes.
Sir, hindi ako nakasunod dun sa yung in-extend mo yung edge.
Yung edge.
Ulit. Thank you po.
Blender, no? Yep. Okay. So let's say gusto ko tong edge na to, no? Gusto kong mag-extrude ng edge. First, select muna natin to select para malipat natin yung selection natin to edge select, no? So then the next, press mo yung edge na gusto mo i-extrude. Gusto ko to. So after selecting that, press natin E to extrude. That's how basic it is, no? Pero ang problem kasi natin dito sa pag-extrude ng edge, since wala siyang path to follow, wala siyang axis na pwede niyang sundan, free-form yung movement niya, no? The only way to remedy that is by pressing X, Y, or Z depending kung saang axis mo siya i-move. So let's say I want this in the Z axis. So I press Z, and yun, along Z-axis lang siya mag-move. Let's say, gusto ko naman dito mag-extrude ulit. Gusto ko naman sa Y-axis. Y-axis. Ito naman, gusto ko naman dito, X-axis. Extrude, X. Okay? Good na? Did you
Yes, sir.
understand?
Thank you po.
Okay, okay. No more questions, guys, before I move on to the next one. Before I move on to the next one, guys. No questions? No questions? Okay, I'll move on to the next one na. Next, adding edge loops, no? Okay, but adding edge loops, ito yung pinaka-important na function na kailangan yung matutunan tsaka kailangan yung ma-master talaga, no? Kasi because kahit anong gawin nyo, adding edge loops talaga yung pinaka-main form of adding geometry nyo talaga, no? Sa mga base objects nyo. Other than yung extrusion. Extrusion, second most important yun. Pero pinaka-important is itong edge loop natin. So, na-discuss ko na briefly yung edge loops natin, no? Yung ito na yon. Ang edge loops natin, like for example, sa pag-add ng base objects, dinagdagan lang natin itong length segment. Itong line na to, convert ko lang to editable poly. Itong line na to, yung naka-highlight na yan, that's what we call an edge loop, no? It perfectly loops around the base object using its form, no? Nagkakaroon tayo ng isang loop. So how other than yung yung sa pag-add natin nga ng segments, we can actually manually add edge loops sa ating model, no? So first, number one, make sure na converted na yung object natin to editable poly, no? Always palagi kailangan natin editable poly, no? Kailangan editable poly palagi yan. And then after that, they're gonna press Alt plus 1. Yan, Alt 1 to add edge loop. And then, manonotice nyo na lang, magkakaroon tayo ng this highlight right here. Itong green na loop na to. That's what we call na an edge loop, no? So to add an edge loop, let's say gusto ko dito, yung edge loop na to. Press lang natin left click to add ang edge loop. Then there we go. Nagkaroon na tayo ng geometry dito. So when you're moving dito sa vertically, pa-horizontal yung loop natin. Pero kapag sa horizontal yung edge yung nakalapat, vertical yung edge loop natin, no? This is something that you should that you should quickly master kasi ito yung pinaka-important skill of any 3D designer talaga. Okay? So that's how you add edge loop. So let's say satisfied na ako dito sa mga edge loop na to. To exit out of edge loop mode, you can either press Alt 1 again or just right click. Yun na yun.
How do I delete the lines?
To delete the lines, ano lang naman, select lang natin yung edge loop, then delete. Ganun lang yun. Pero ang nagiging problem natin doon sa 3ds Max, tatanggalin din niya yung mga kasama niya na na faces. So that's a no-go. So ang gagawin natin with after you select your edge loop, right click tayo, and then click remove. Yan.
Okay. Right click then remove.
Pero ang problem natin, may mga natirang edge loops, no? May natira tayong edge loops dun sa may natira pala tayong mga vertices dun sa edge loop natin. So automatic yan, na if you can notice, sa edge loop natin kanina, nag-leave out yung vertices natin. So it's the same thing again. Right click, then remove. Always make sure to do that, no? When you're deleting edge loops, always remember that. Huwag niyong kalilimutan yun kasi kayo ang mahihirapan nun. Pag nalimutan nyo, like let's say, nalimutan nyo tanggalin tong edge, yung itong vertices na to, magiging problem yan, putol na yung edge loop natin. Because this is already an n-gon, no? N-gons are polyfaces with edges 5 or more, no? So n-gons are essentially very bad sa model, no? Meron din tayong mga tinatawag na mga good n-gons, pero in some cases na yun, in very consequential na yun, no? Very situational pala. So I suggest always good practice, never have any n-gons, no? So, good practice. Don't make n-gons like this one, no? So as you can see,
Oh, that's the end.
n-gons
Okay,
na.
okay.
This is our n-gon, no? So, yung kaya napuputol yung edge loop natin because if we count our segments, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 na. That's still a polyphase, yes, pero ang naging problem natin dito, it's not a normal phase na, no, because it already has 5 sides. That's an n-gon na. Okay? So, next sa Blender, to add an edge loop sa Blender, and also ito na yung pag-add natin ng segments, no? Compared sa natin sa Blender, wala tayong option to add segments after we add our base objects. So to do that, gagamitin natin yung yung edge loop tool natin. So to add an edge loop sa sa model natin, first select yung object, make sure nasa edit mode ka by pressing tab, and then press Control R. Okay? So by default, isa-select mo muna kung saan mo i-edge loop yung yung object mo. Gusto ko dito ko lagyan ng edge loop. So, yung sa pag-add natin ng segments, we can instead of after pressing enter dito or pressing left click to confirm yung position ng edge loop natin, we can just double press enter. Yan. To add our segments. Now, after you add said segment or said edge loop, may makikita kayo dito na pop-up window that says loop, cut, and slide. Press nyo yun. Don't press anything else muna, guys, ha? Warning ko lang to. Do not press anything else after adding yung yung edge loop natin or yung mga following natin, no? Mga pag-add ng geometry. Don't press anything yet. Ito lang press nyo para makita nyo paano nyo pa-edit pa. So, click natin to, loop, cut, and slide. And then makikita natin dito, we have our number of cuts. Ito na yung paglagay natin ng segments. Ayan o. So as we add more cuts, natadagdagan yung segments natin. No? So that's how you add segments. Yung ginagawa naman natin sa 3ds Max, yung traditional na paglagay ng edge loops, it's the same rin sa Blender. So balik tayo, Control R, edge loop, and then you can, after you press left click, pwede mo nang freely move kung saan lalagay yung edge tool yung edge loop natin. So let's say gusto ko dito. And then ito rin ang isa sa mga downside ng pag-add ng edge loop ni 3ds Max, no? So let's say add ulit ako ng edge loop. Let's say gusto ko dito. If you would notice, kulong tong area natin to add an edge loop, no? Ayaw tayong palagpasin dito sa part na to kasi naka-enclose siya with this edge loop right here, no? So do make sure, guys, na nasa tamang area kayo kung saan maglalagay ng edge loop, no? Kasi mangyayari sa inyo to. I-close off kayo ng edge loop na to like this one, no? So do remember that, okay? So yun lang naman. That's edge looping, no? This is your main form of adding geometry talaga. This is your most important skill to master early on. Ito yung pinaka-important, no? Ito yung pinaka-important. Next would be extrusion. Any questions?
In 3ds Max, how do I add a segment between the two vertex?
Between
the two vertex, how do I add a segment?
Between two vertex.
Between the two vertices.
But what do you mean by in between two vertices? Because
diba, let's say delete ako ng segment.
Yung segment.
Tapos, how do I connect how do I make tawag dito an edge between the two vertices? Demo.
So remove natin to. Yan. Remove natin. And then ganyan na.
Yeah.
So gagamitin natin cut tool, no? Itong cut tool. And then make sure naka-turn on snap mo. Then connect the dots. Basically connect the dots.
Okay.
But this is not something that you would normally do, no? Kasi when you're using the cut tool, wala tayong guides when we're adding geometry using the cut tool, no? Pero babalikan natin 'yan sa next meeting when we're doing booleans, no? Babalikan natin 'yan. Okay? Okay. So, delete ko ulit 'to. Control Z ko na. Okay. Ano questions na sa edge loops? Edge loops, guys? No questions? Konti na lang. Magano na tayo,
Sir, paano
activity.
pa pag
Yes, Travis.
Kapag like, let's say, balik po kayo sa model nyo. Like,
Parang 3ds Max?
Tapos sa
3D.
3ds.
Okay.
Like, extrude nyo po yung one side niya.
Yung one side?
Yung upward. Gusto ko po parang i-cut extrude if that's a thing.
What do you mean by cut extrude?
Like,
So,
parang, ang hirap i-explain eh. Parang, parang extrude nyo po up. Hindi po, like one side lang. Yung
one side lang. Ganyan. Ayan, pwede.
Extrude nyo po. And then I want to add an edge loop on the surface below, top surface niya. Nagaganyan po siya. Nag-iiba yung niya. Nag-iiba yung geometry niya po pag nag-edge loop.
Pag ganito?
Gusto ko lang po parang flat extrude, parang ganyan, but on the base part niya. Yeah, nagaganyan po siya.
Nagaganito?
Opo. Gusto ko po like parang on the one surface lang po mag-extrude. Or parang maglagay ng edge loop.
Like for example, dito lang. Like for example, dito sa surface na to lang.
Opo.
That's cut tool na yon, cut tool. But again, like I said, kapag nilagyan natin to ng cut tool, ang magiging problem na natin yan, itong face na to. Itong face na to. This is an end gone already. Kasi we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's bad na. So that's bad practice na. So ang inaano ko dyan, okay lang to always add edge loops na muna. It's always good to add edge loops, no? Kasi in the end, yung magiging 3D model natin, it's just gonna be ganyan na yung magiging ganyan na yung model natin. It's gonna add a bunch of faces talaga. Magiging normal ganyan ang magiging output talaga natin when we're modeling, no? Magiging ganyan. Like example, ganyan magiging full output nyo when we're making a 3D model. Never tayo mag-a-add ng n-gons, no? The only possible use ng n-gons is yun nga, sa pag-cylinder. Gawa tayo ng cylinder. This one is an n-gon already because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 sides right here, no? That's an n-gon. Pero ito, pwede pa to kasi this is pabilog to eh. Hindi naman natin basta pwedeng to. Pwede nang ganyan lang yan, no? Those are what we call good n-gons, no? Pero yung mga ganitong flat surface lang, tapos let's say yun nga mag-add ka ng isang edge loop lang dito in between lang these two parts right here, no? That's bad na kasi we have in this case, we have two n-gons na, no? We have this one and then this one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no? That's an n-gon na, which is something that you shouldn't be practicing to do. Always
pala. Sir. So
yes.
in 3ds Max, is it possible to add the vertex inside the segment?
A vertex inside the segment? No.
Is it possible?
Wait, like in a segment? Like in Blender, pwede rin naman. So, pwede tayo mag-add ng ganyan. Ayun. Ay. Okay. Okay. Ayaw na magano. Ayaw magano ng vertex to. I mean, possible naman sa 3ds Max pero I don't know why bakit ayaw mag-add ng vertex ko. Kasi normally ganyan lang 'yun eh. Pero we'll bypass na lang that muna because again, that's not something that you should do. Kasi when we're adding separate vertices sa mga segments natin, ultimately, nag-end up pa rin tayo with an n-gon sa ating model, no? So, that's bad practice, no, John? So let's try to not do that, no? Always try to make edge loops, no? Tapos make use of the cut tool. Pero cut tool sa next meeting pa natin i-discuss pa natin yan. For now, ito lang yung edge loops natin, no? Okay, John? Okay, so may any questions pa ba sa edge loops before I move on? No questions na? No questions na? No questions. Next is chamfer, no? Or what we commonly known as beveling, no? Sa 3ds Max nga lang, maarte kasi sa 3ds Max eh. Instead na bevel lang tawag dito, tinawag siyang chamfer, no? Pero again, ang chamfer na to, kasama rin to sa AutoCAD, no? Chamfer din ang tawag doon, or what we call fillet din. Pero in most softwares, you use bevel, no? This is what we call beveling, no? So, ano muna natin dito? So, gawa ulit ako ng bagong box na lang. Then, add poly, editable poly. Then, select go edge. So, you can only chamfer edges, no? Sa 3ds Max. So, we can press that. Press mo yung edge na gusto mong i-chamfer. And then, you press tong chamfer button natin to manually chamfer. Ayan. Or, what I would recommend you use, gamitin nyo tong settings, no? Ang settings to manually input yung chamfer amount. Kung nilagay nyo sa 0 yung connect edge segments na connect edge segments natin, magiging flat surface lang yung ating chamfer, no? This one, edge chamfer amount is how much you chamfer the edge, no? Ayan. Nagkakaroon tayo ng curvature, no? Tapos pag nag-add naman tayo ng edge segments, the greater number we have. Bakit? Teka. Bakit? Hindi siya magano. Ano pala to? Tanggal ko pala. By default, ganyan yung nyo natanggal ko lang to pala kanina. So, when you're chamfering objects, again, chamfer amount, kung gaano yung, kung gaano kalayo yung chamfer mo. Connect edge segments, the higher you have, the smoother yung curve ng chamfer. And kapag nilagay mo na sa 0, it's just gonna be flat, no? So, that's how you chamfer. Or bevel, no? That's yung pinaka-official na tawag niya. So, yan, example natin. Chamfer ulit natin to. Instead, gawin natin to 0. Para natin to. Yan. That's chamfering, no? So, sa Blender, ang tawag naman natin doon is nga, bevel, no? So, gawin natin tong, So, like sa 3ds Max, select natin tong edge. And then, press Ctrl B. And to at first, pwede natin manually na ganyan lang. Tapos, select lang left click lang natin when you're satisfied ka na sa amount ng bevel mo or yung chamfer. Press left click. And then, normally, di naka-open to. So, open natin tong pop-up menu ng bevel, no? And then, add natin ng segments to add curvature, no? Maging smooth yung curve natin sa pag-bevel, no? Tapos, sa 1 naman, flat surface. It's the same thing sa 3ds Max na, no? So, any questions, guys? Sa chamfer? Last 2 na. Last 2 before we move on sa, before we have our break muna, no? And then we'll have your exercise. No questions sa chamfer? No questions? No questions? What if you chamfer yung triangular shape? Yes, pwede naman. Basta it's an edge, no? So, let's gawin natin to sa 3ds Max. Kuha tayo ng, let's make a, saan ba yun? Pyramid. Pag rounded pyramid, actually, that's a good question. Even I don't know kung ano mangyayari doon. Pero sige, we'll check. We'll check, no? Even hindi ko naisip yun, So, try natin yung chamfer, no? Ang naiisip kong pwedeng mangyari dito, magkakaroon lang tayo ng cuts sa edge na yon. Ang naiisip ko pwedeng mangyari. So, try natin. Ayun. Yep, tama nga. Ano ko. So, kapag ganyan sa mga rounded pyramid, you're just adding cuts, no? You're just adding cuts sa tawag doon on both sides ng ating selected edge, no? So that's what happens. So by adding more segments, you add more cuts, no? So ganun din 'yun. Pwede rin same case rin 'yun sa natin, no? Sa mga ganito sa atin, no? Sa ganitong model natin kanina. So when we select our edge loops, ito may naka-select na akong edge loop dito. Let's use chamfer. Tapos connect edge segments, dagdagan natin to 3. Then taasan natin yung chamfer amount. Ayun, nagkakaroon tayo ng loops, no? Mga cuts. So that's how you chamfer, no? On flat surfaces. Or like this one, yung sa rounded surface natin. Okay? Any questions? Any questions na? Any questions pa?
Sir, does chamfering flat surfaces make n-gons or no?
No. Kasi magiging basta perfect yung yung topology natin along that path, then yeah, it wouldn't give an n-gon, no? So basta the more line segments, the more smoother the chamfer bezel. Yes, that's how it works din sa in basic modeling, no? The more segments that you do, pero again, make sure sa organic sa tayo diyan eh. When you add more or more edge loops or more segments, the smoother yung magiging render natin doon, yung when we add our our subdivisions, no? Or open subdiv or yung turbo smooth natin, no? More may PC after that. Yes, do be careful. Kaya nga ang inaano ko sa inyo, ang pinapaano ko sa inyo, try to get as low poly as possible, no? Kasi when we add our turbo smooth talaga and na-notice mo na yung current topology mo, medyo mataas-taas, medyo on the verge of high poly, pag naglagay ka pa ng turbo smooth, something bad will happen probably. Sana naman wag. Pero, yun nga. Most of the time, something bad will happen sa PC. Okay? So, no more questions, chamfer. How about the top of the cone? Top of the cone kasi this is a cup na, no? Pero okay, sige, let's try. Kasi hindi naman siya Sige. Since top ng cone na to, possible na mangyayari dito. Okay. Wait, no, this is bridge. Wait, not chamfer. Okay, so theoretically, it does the same thing, sort of. I mean, yeah, you can explore naman on what pero it does that, no? It sort of added it added yes, it did turn into a bevel, no? Naging bevel siya konti, no? Pero yung chamfer amount natin, it's not that much, wala tayong masyadong magagawa sa chamfer amount, no? It's nagkakaroon lang tayo ng slight deformity, no? So, yun. Any more questions? Chamfer, lipat na ako? Or lipat na ako? Last 2 na tayo. Any more questions?
Sir, is there a way to merge objects?
Merge objects? Magano ba tayo ngayon? Siguro pagpalibang ko na muna yun till next meeting, no? Yung merge objects natin, no?
Okay.
For now, hindi muna tayo merge objects, no? Pero kung ganon, sige, dito lang rin yun sa first select natin yung object natin. Select natin yung object and then press natin dito attach. Then select natin yung gusto mong i-attach na object. Ano yan? Mga object natin. Now, it's counted as one object. Mapipili lang natin yan via element kung each object lang. Ayan. Tapos, when we detach, ayan. Saan na yan? Ayan, dito, edge geometry, detach. Natanggal na siya. Detach natin. Then, attach as object. Yan. Separate object na siya. No? Pero babalikan pa natin yan next meeting. No? Babalikan natin yan. Kasi may certain use ang attach natin, no? Ang pag-merge natin ng mga objects when we're modeling. Pero for now, we'll stick with basic polymodeling modeling pa lang naman. So, ito, wag muna tayong mag-merge ng objects, mag-weld ng mga vertices, or pag-add ng mga vertices, pag-merge ng mga vertices, no? Sa ano muna, next meeting na natin yan. When we're doing subdivs, no? And booleans. No more questions na, Schaefer? No more questions na? Next na ako. Next, bevel. Itong bevel na to, it's just a glorified extrude. This is what extrude should be in most softwares like Maya tsaka Blender. Ito yung extrude lang. This is extrude. Ang basic process lang nito, nagkakaroon lang tayo ng extrude and then scaling. Ganun lang yun. Pero si 3ds Max, gusto niya, special siya. So, pagbigyan natin si 3ds Max, no? So, it's the same thing lang naman sa same thing lang naman sa extrude ang nangyayari sa bevel. So, dito under edit polygons, press tong bevel, tong settings. Ayan, it's literally the same as extrude. Gawin lang natin tong 0. Ayan, it's extrude, di ba? Ang nag-aano lang sa bevel is yun nga, nagkakaroon tayo ng a bit of a scaling dito, no? Or yung bevel nga natin. Or kapag naman, pwede naman downward, ganyan, no? Pero kayo bahala. Pero it's just a glorified extrude lang naman talaga. This is actually what extrude should be, no? Pero naman natin, ang quick na way lang natin to bevel, no? Except other than this button right here. So select lang natin to, extrude lang natin, and then scale. That's yan. Ganyan lang yun. There's nothing really special sa quote-unquote bevel ng 3ds Max. It's literally just extrude and then scaling. Ganun lang yung ginagawa nun. Sa Blender, again, ganun lang rin. Yung bevel natin, ito yung tamang bevel, no? And yung ginagawa lang natin kanina, it's ganun din naman yun. So select natin faces, press E, and then press natin S, scale, and yan. It's literally the same thing, no? So, yun lang naman. There's nothing really remotely special sa ganyan, no? It's basically just extruding, no? So, again, wala naman siguro ko yung questions doon. It's literally just that, no? And then doon tayo sa last, which is inset, no? Sa inset, basically uses yung outline ng ating selected face and then creates a smaller one, no? By adding more geometry sa face natin, no? Better to actually let you see that, no? So, gamitin natin tong model natin dito. So, press natin to, edit tab, press natin face. Gusto ko lagyan ng inset dito sa face na to. So, to inset, you can manually just press this inset to manually set yung inset natin. Ako personally, ito lang yung ginagawa ko. So, insert natin to. Yan. So, ganyan lang naman. That's how you insert. Or pag kung gusto nyo specific parameters, press nyo lang yung settings, no? So, mag-open lang ng pop-up. Tapos, type in nyo lang yung parameters na gusto nyo, no? Sa amount, which is just your amount.
Is there around AutoCAD?
Yep. Parang offset sa AutoCAD. Yeah, it's literally the same thing, no? Pero dito, it's inset. Okay. So, is there a round inset? Yes, basta sir, polyface siya. Basta isa surface, no? So, kaya natin itong sa cylinder. Edit poly. Press natin face. Yan. And then, press natin inset. Yan. Pwede lang ganyan. Or, manually press natin inset to manually add yung inset natin. Okay? Tapos kapag minove upward mo naman yan, it's literally the same thing na sa ginawa natin kanina na ito, yung extrusion, no? tapos na may scaling. It's literally just that, no?
Sir, is there a way to add different object inset?
In what do you mean? A different object inset?
Opo, parang like let's say a box and then I want to add a circular inset inside the box. Is that possible?
No. Ang mangyayari na dyan, manually mo na i-adjust, no? So, let's say ito, gusto kong gawing box to. Manually na natin i-adjust yan. No? So, top. Then, select natin vertices. Select natin to. Tsaka, ito lang muna. And then S. Constraints. And lagay ko doon. Doon. Manually mo na gagawin yon. Ayan. I mean, pwede, it's an effective rin naman. It's an effective technique naman yung model. Pwede rin naman to. Pero again, magiging endgone na to. I mean, this is still technically a good endgone pa rin naman since wala naman. Pag in-extrude natin yan, magiging pa rin yan. Pwede naman natin lagyan din natin ng cuts para hindi siya maging endgone. Lagyan natin cut dito, cut doon, cut dito, cut doon. Yun na yan. Then, okay na yan. It's good topology na, no? Wala tayong endgone na makikita. Puro lahat, four-sided, no? Okay? Okay? So, yun lang naman. Sa inset Blender, di ko pala na-discuss, no? So, inset, it's ganun din naman rin, same concept lang rin sa Blender din, no? So, select tayo ng face. Gusto ko to, lagyan ko ng inset. Ang shortcut natin for inset is I. Press natin I. Manually insert natin yan. No? Tapos, pwede mo ibahin pa yung parameters yun. Amount ng inset natin. Yan. Tapos, click anywhere na lang sa paglabas. Then yan na. You have your inset na. No? Any questions sa inset? Any questions? No questions sa inset? No questions na? Okay. So we'll have a 10-minute break before we go to our polymodeling exercises. Make ready nyo na yung mga reference image nyo because sasabayan nyo ako I'll do my model and you'll do yours, no? Ang magiging process natin dito sa exercise na to, I'll be doing a demo of in creating yung reference image ko and you'll be doing yours, no? The only thing that I'll be doing, yung mga yung pag-uusapan ko is yung thought process ko in creating loop cuts and then yung pag-edit natin ng mga vertices, no? Yun yung lang pag-aanin ko. Kasi ang modeling, 3D modeling, you can't just hindi mo basta mababasa yan or mapapanood. Need mo talagang ma-experience yan firsthand, no? So, yun lang naman, guys. Please do come back at 3:30, no? You can take your break muna. So, kung may questions kayo, sige, ask away lang. Be back at 3:30. Kung gusto niyo magmerienda or kuha kayo ng coffee, kayo bahala. Just be back at 3:30, no?
Hindi ako nakasunod. Sorry.
Asan part ka hindi nakasunod dyan?
Doon sa may placing an image.
So, balik tayo dito sa empty node tayo dito,
Okay. Empty node.
Okay.
Where's the empty node here?
All of currently all of those are empty nodes. Ito yung mga empty nodes natin, no? Mga ganyan lang itsura nun. Lahat sila empty, no? Wala silang laman other than yung standard material.
Material editor. Wait lang.
As nasa slate material editor. Ito yun, no? Ito yung nakikita mo, no?
Mhm.
So,
Oh.
to make yourselves, to make it easy, no? Para change natin tong modes natin into compact material editor.
Okay.
Yes. Yan. Compact material editor, no? After na-change na natin to compact material editor, select tayo ng empty node, no? So, for example, ito, empty node to. Walang laman to. Or any of this, no? Lahat kasi ito na ginamit ko kaninang last class, no? So, kuha ka ng empty material node. Under sa basic parameters, meron dito yung base color and reflections, no? Yung unang color box na nakikita natin dito, press the empty box right next to it sa right side, no? Itong right na to. Itong box na to. Click niyo yan. Ayan, no? It says to click to pick a map or drop a map, no? Select natin yon. And then, you open tong window na to, no? So, mangyayari dyan, scroll down kayo, hanapin nyo tong general, and then, hanapin nyo yung bitmap. After nakita mo na yung bitmap, click mo yon, and then, press OK. And then, it should open yung sa ano mo, directory, current directory nyo sa project sa project folder nyo, no? Tapos hanapin nyo na yung kung hindi pa nakalagay sa project folder nyo yung reference image nyo, hanapin nyo na lang yung reference image nyo, no? Since ito nandito yung akin sa references ko, click ko na lang yon. So click ko lang yon, and then press open, no? And that should do it, no?
Ayun. Okay. Nasa like sphere na yung material image.
Yes. So ang gawin natin to apply this two ways. So select natin yung select muna natin yung plane natin, first way natin, and then select natin tong material na i-apply natin, which is tong reference natin. And then we're going to select assign material to selection, no? Or I don't know, yung easiest way na to do it is basically just drag and drop, no? Drag and drop natin. Yes. Now, by default, sa mga some cases, ganyan lang makikita nyo, no? It's just a blank na plane. So, magiging natin dyan, ang solution natin dyan, you should see this, itong icon na to, no? Itong square na may circle sa loob, no? That says, show shaded material in viewport. And then select natin yon to view or viewport, no? Okay, so pwede natin exit out to. And then, rotate na natin to. Since front view yung rotate natin to 90 degrees.
Hi, sir. Excuse me po.
Yes, Kat.
Sir, kasi yung reference photo ko po kasi, medyo diagonal siya. So, nung nilagay ko siya dun sa plane, ang nangyari is, para siyang may mga square sa gilid.
Square sa gilid?
Yes, sir. Para siyang na-smudge. Like, hindi siya ganun ka-clean.
Can you share your screen, Catherine, para makita ko?
Okay, sir. Wait lang
Can you share your screen? Wait. Ito pala may tanong. Daphne, medyo will it be okay or does the object's image need to be straight talaga? Syempre, yes. Hindi natin maiiwasan din talaga yon. I mean, as much as possible, try to find something na straight yung image natin. Pero, natin yan eh.
Ayan, sir. Look.
Wait lang.
Sige lang, sir. Take your time.
Okay. So, teka. Kasi ang mangyayari dyan, i-offset natin. Teka lang Usually should be try to play ang kasing ganito mga pwedeng mangyari diyan eh. Try to play around dito sa natin. Ko to. Screen share ko lang.
Stop share ko lang ba, sir?
Sige. Anin ko lang.
Sige po.
Kasi ang natin diyan, a normal way ako personally kasi ako it depends sa na lang kasi yan eh, sa preferences, no? Kasi ang pwedeng maging solution natin diyan is try to play around with this yung sa map natin dito. So, balik tayo dito sa object natin, no? To view yung current na natin, yung current object natin, yung reference pala natin, is select ulit natin yung box na to, yung katabi ng base color, no? Select lang natin yan to open our map or yung reference image natin. And
Sir,
usually,
hindi ka po
hindi pa ako naka-screen share? Ay, sorry. Ayan. Okay. So, ito, no? So, ito, no? So, ito yung natin, di ba? Yung material natin. Select lang natin ulit tong map ko, itong map natin, no? Yung on tabi ng base color natin to open up our map. Usually, ang magiging natin dyan, ang magiging solution natin is try to play around dito sa mga UV natin, no? So, pwede din ito sa UV, natin dito sa, no? Try to play around, no? Kasi, di natin talaga may iwasan yung sa mga ganun talaga na reference images, no? Ayan, no? Itong sa W natin yun. So, try to play around it. Try to play around dito sa W na to try to make it straight, Try to make your reference image straight, no? Nakakuha? Okay.
Sir, thank you po.
Okay na. Teka, what's the next step po after the image is already circled around the Daphne, can you elaborate further? Teka lang, nagbabakread lang ako. Will it be okay or does it needs to be straight talaga? Yung first question mo, I already answered na, no? So, kung slanted yung image mo, you can play around with this, no? Yung sa map natin, no? So, repeat ko lang, doon sa material natin na may na may na may material, yung may reference image mo, select tong map, and then play around. Kung medyo diagonal yung natin, yung reference image natin, play around ka dito sa W, no? To rotate yung yung reference image mo. Okay? What's the next since I have to edit? Alright. Yes, if it works, then sure, go ahead. If it works for you, ano? Ako kasi usually ang model, kahit ako sa 3ds Max, hindi ako rarely ako nagmo-model sa 3ds Max, no? Kasi I'm Maya user kasi ako eh. Pero yeah, if it works for you, then sure. Yun, pwede mo rin pwedeng ganun din. Dragon on empty plane lang. Sige, go ahead. Okay. Okay, so next...
Sir, ba't iba yung window ng map editor ko? Material editor ko pala.
Ano na?
Hindi po siya tulad ng sa inyo.
Baka ito yung nakikita mo. Ito ba yung nakikita mo? This one?
Yes.
So, punta ka dito sa modes. Modes, no? Modes, and then select compact material editor.
Ayun, okay na po.
Okay. So, lipat muna ako sa Blender, no? Sa Blender, much easier, no? Much easier sa Blender.
Drag and drop lang yung image.
Literally just drag and drop, no? Or kapag when you're adding specific images naman, when you're adding a specific image naman, pwede mong enable yung add-on natin dito sa preferences. Add-on nyo yung import-export import images as planes, no? Pwede rin yung gawin din yon, or yun nga, like John said, pwede natin drag and drop lang, no? So, open ko lang yung akin. So, mangyayari dyan, drag and drop lang natin, no? Wait, wala. What? Ayan. Pero ang naging problem natin dito, but nakaslanted siya, no? So, ang kailangan muna natin gawin, delete muna ulit natin, no? Delete ko na muna ito lahat. Let's try to, punta tayo sa front view, front camera natin, no? And then, saka tayo i-drag natin and drop natin yung reference image natin para, ayun, perfectly, straight natin. Nakaharap siya sa front natin. Hindi tayo mahihirapan sa pag-rotate pa, no? Or pag-move. So, gawin na natin. Move lang natin to along y-axis. Pusog natin konti doon, no? So, yun. That's how you add images, reference images sa ano nyo, no? Sa sa software nyo, no? Then next, set up naman tayo ng mga viewports natin, no? Ako personally, I always work with these 4 viewports talaga. Perspective, your front, their top, and then your left, no? By default, lahat yan itong top, front, tsaka left natin, naka wireframe lahat yan, no? Naka wireframe lahat yan, and di mo makikita yung ano natin sa front natin, hindi natin makikita yung image natin, no? So, ang mangyayari, ang setup ko dyan palagi, kung dito sa case na to, I'll turn on default shading dito. I'll add edge faces para makita ko yung geometry as I work my model dito sa front. Same goes sa other viewports natin. Default shading, and turn on edge faces, default shading, then turn on yung edge faces. Same goes sa perspective, no? So yun lang naman yung pinaka setup lang sa mga viewports. Sa Blender, pwede na naman tayo mag-add ng mga viewports, no? Other than this perspective view lang natin, no? Itong solo na viewport natin, no? So to add the viewport sa sa Blender mo, so in between dito kahit saan diyan, makita niyo lang tong icon na to, tong arrow icons na to. Right-click niyo lang, right-click, and then press vertical split or horizontal split, kayo choice niyo na yan. Ako sa Blender, I just work with 2 viewports, no? So isang vertical split lang yung need ko. So one is dito sa left side ko, I have my front view, and then dito yung perspective view ko, no? Dito na lang ako sa perspective view ko, nag-interchange ako ng in between 1, 3, and 7 sa mga sa different camera views ng ating viewport, no? Ito yung remain stationary lang tong nandito sa left ko, which is yung front ko, no? But it's again, guys, it's completely up to you. It's your preference. This is kung ano yung mas prefer nyo. Ako, this is my personal preference. You don't need to follow me kung ganon, no? So ang mangyayari diyan, dito naman sa top front viewport ko, tanggalin ko na tong grid ko, no? So to disable your grid, press mo lang G, no? Dito, and since natanggal na yung ko dito sa front ko. And then focus na ako dito sa perspective ko muna, no? So kung maximize your viewports, I think na-discuss ko na rin naman to, no? Is select nyo yung viewport nyo, Alt-W. Tapos Alt-W ulit to exit out, no? Sa Blender, ganun din, pwede naman, instead of Alt-W, hover lang kayo kung saan viewport nyo gustong i-focus, and then Control Space. And then Control Space ulit to return yung dating setup, okay? What's the next to do? It was already circled. Di ko pala nasagot to, Daphne, no? Sorry, nalimutan ko sa sagutin. Do you mean like this ba, Daphne? Yung like itong circle na to, tapos kalagay na dun yung reference image. I'm so sorry, nalimutan ko na. Daphne, no? So after that, yung ilalagay mo na yung reference, yung material mo. Okay. After that, I got lost on how to make my picture as a plane. Okay, so di ba you have your plane na, no? You have your plane and you have your material na. So ang gagawin mo lang, drag and drop mo na lang yung material mo sa plane mo. Drag and drop mo na lang, no? Just drag and drop. Okay. Tapos may mga cases tayo na makikita mo lang is just ganyan lang, parang blank pa rin yung plane mo. So ang solution diyan, enable mo lang to, show shaded material in viewport. Itong icon na to, this one right here. Okay? Press mo lang yon to show your material or yung reference image natin, no? Okay? Okay na ba, Daphne? Ano ka na? Okay. So exit out ko na to. So we have our reference images na. We have our viewport set up na. So let's start na tayo sa modeling, no? Personally, sa mga modeling, before you actually start your modeling, first we have to study muna paano yung magiging structure muna ng ating 3D model, no? It's what I always do. So you'll have to key in the factors kung angular ba yung maging object mo, kung organic ba siya. So you'll have to study first muna yung overall form ng ating reference image. So yung reference image ko, itong sword, no? And if you can already tell, medyo angular siya, no? Puro angular yung ang aking reference image, no? So kung angular ang aking form sa ating reference image, usually I always start with box, no? Always start with box kapag ganun ako. So gawa lang ako ng box. Any box will do. Pwede mo ring perfectly perfectly squared. Zero out natin yung movement natin para centered muna siya, no? So, we have our box na, no? Ang mangyayari dyan, first, after you've studied your form, kailangan mo naman ngayon mag-decide kung ano yung kailangan mong unahin. What is the biggest part na kailangan natin sa tingin mo na pwede natin unahin? Sa case na to, we have different itong sword natin, we have different parts, no? We have your handle, we have your hand guards, we have your wrist guards, itong blade natin, and then yung mga parts na to sa ating blade, no? So, ang naiisip ko, thought process ko ngayon, ang main takeaway dito sa reference image ko is yung blade, no? It's one of the simplest, no? And it's the largest part ng ating model, no? So, ang good start ko dito is actually itong blade natin, no? So, what we can do, pwede natin itong select tong plane, align lang natin dito, or pwede natin itong box natin. Pero ako, siguro, gawin ko lang, move ko na lang muna to dito. Try to align itong part ng edge ng cube ko dito to this part right here, itong edge ng ating blade, no? So, i-align ko doon as near as possible. And then, ngayon, may problem tayo, no? Kasi ngayon, hindi ko na makita yung reference image ko. Paano ko na i-model to? So, select lang natin tong object ko and then press Alt-X, no? Alt-X to enable X-ray, no?
Okay.
Okay? So, ang next natin gagawin, ang next ko na thought process ngayon is try to make the blades form muna, no? Overall form muna before I actually add any geometry. So, ang gagawin ko, add ako before doing that pala, since I also noticed, since blade to, meron tayong sharp edge dito, no? So, before I add my geometry, mag-add muna ako ng basic na isang segment lang muna sa length to actually make my edge ng blade, no? Para hindi ko nalalagyan ng edge loop pa. And hindi ko na kailangan hanapin pa yung gitna, no? This way, I can guarantee perfectly nasa middle na tong segment na to, and i-move ko na lang to actually get the sharp edge ng blade, no? So, after adding that, balik tayo sa front, and then convert na natin to editable poly. Or kapag sa pag sa Blender na kayo, mali pala nalagay ko, no? Itong box, convert to editable poly. Pag sa Blender, straight na kayo sa edit mode by pressing tab, no? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try to align yung itong portion ng segments natin dito, no? So when I select this, mamove natin tong group of vertices na to, pati yung nasa likod na vertices ng part na to, no? So move natin dito. And then I'm going to start moving other vertices na, no? So tataasan ko pa yung height nito konti dito sa part na to. Let's say maybe around here, no? Maybe around there, no? Tapos ito naman sa bottom part, dito naman sa baba. So, yun. Since yung farthest dito is yung tip ng blade. And then notice natin dito, since may konting curvature siya dito, pwede kong gawin, select ko to, and then move ko a bit dito to dun sa start point ng ating curvature dito. Now ngayon, sa Blender, meron tayong yung nangyayari tayo dito na when we add our cube, no? Tapos nag-edit mode tayo, no? So ang nangyayari dito, when we try to move ko lang to. Move ko a bit na lang para naka-align to konti. No? Okay. So ang nangyayari dito, no, sa go to edit mode, tapos when we select our vertices, kapag sinelect naman natin to, ang problem natin dito, yung nasa harap lang yung napipili niya, no? Yung nasa harap lang yung napipili. So ang mangyayari dyan, kailangan mo toggle tong X-ray, no? Yung X-ray natin, ayan, maximize ko to. Around dito, ito. Toggle X-ray or shortcut natin, Alt-Z, no? So toggle lang natin yung X-ray. And then, go back tayo dito. Toggle din natin dito yung X-ray. Ayan. And then, we're going to go back to our edit mode. And then when we try to reselect ulit tong edges na to, ayan, notice nyo doon sa perspective natin, no? Pati yung nandun sa likod, nakuha na niya rin yung vertices natin. So, pwede na natin siyang ma-move sa sa ating reference photo to try and align yung form natin, no? So, GX, yan. And same thing, no? Same thing. Same thing. That's how you no? Okay? So, balik tayo sa 3ds Max. Now, ngayon, nakuha ko na yung overall shape natin, no? So, ano yung uunahin ko muna dito, no? Ano yung pwede nating unahin? So, number one, since itong blade natin, it consists of two parts, no? Meron tayong flat surface area dito. Itong gray out na tong part na to. Medyo flat yung surface natin yon. If you can, kung alam nyo sa mga swords. And then we have yung sharp edge natin. What we can do is pwede natin unahin muna yung flat surface area, no? By just simply moving lang natin yung vertices natin dito sa sa top part na to. Top parts natin na to. Or pwede natin shift select kasi sa baba rin naman yun eh. So, unahin muna natin yun. And then we can press move. Balik tayo dito. Ano nakikita nyo? And then move natin inwards to try and match yung shape natin dito sa flat surface area, no? So, match up ko lang yon. And then also notice, dito rin, meron din pala tayo dito, no? Sa tip natin, meron pa siya dito dapat na parang curvature, no? So, repeat lang rin. Dito naman, sa tip nga lang. And then this one. Then, move naman natin upwards, no? Move natin yan upwards. Okay? Pwede nyo manually na-align lang. Huwag dito, manually nyo lang taas. Yan. Ito pala mali ako ng pindot dito. Di na kailangan sama to. Yung tip lang, no? So, balik ko na lang to sa dati. Equal to strings ko lang. Yan. Balik sa dati. Okay? So, yun. Nakakuha na natin yung when we go back to here sa natin, nakakuha na tayo ng sort of sharp edge. Ngayon, problem naman natin ngayon is tong scale natin. Masyadong mataba to for a sword, no? So, select ko tong dalawang vertices na to. And then, press natin R to scale along y-axis. Minimize natin siya downwards, no? Para maging thin yung blade natin, no? Since yung sa reference image ko, hindi siya masyadong naka-indicate kung gaano ka-thick yung blade ng reference ko, I'll just have to wing it na lang, no? Medyo i-by eye ko na lang titingnan kung gaano ka-thick yung blade natin dito, no? So I guess that should be okay na. Should be okay. It looks okay naman. Looks like a blade, no? Looks like a blade na, no? So, okay. Balik natin sa X-ray, no?
To the other side. Hold on. How do I add segments again? What's the shortcut? Sorry.
Ano na? Add
Previous
segments.
box.
Add segments. You can use cut, no? Use cut tool dito. Pero, yun nga, cut lang. And then, snap tool to make sure naka-ano ka sa vertex mo or ano or whatever. Pwede mo rin freehand lang. Pero I would suggest not relying too much sa cut tool, no? Much better.
Di ba isa pang method to add the segment without the parameter thingy?
Yes, kasi freehand na.
I forgot the command. What's the command again?
Yung edge loop?
Edge
Alt
loop yan?
Edge loop. You mean like this?
Yeah.
Yep, it's Alt 1. Alt 1.
Okay. Thank you. Alt 1.
Okay.
Ito na.
Okay, we'll get that na, no? So nakuha ko na yung overall form ng aking blade, no? So next naman, I'm gonna start working on dito sa curve natin, no? So dito, since may curve dito, I'm going to add an edge loop right here dito sa middle natin, no? So Alt 1 to add an edge loop. So yun, I'll try to put it in the middle para sa akin, no? So after nyan, press ko lang right click to cancel na yung edge loop ko. Select ko tong vertex na to. Move with W and then freely move it somewhere in the middle, no? Somewhere in the middle. Okay na yan. Now, I can stop there actually, no? Sa blade na to. Kasi na to, low poly na to eh. Pwede na to. Pero for your sake guys, I'll continue to add na lang more geometry, no? Kasi we're making a low to mid poly na, no? Pero kung low poly na to, low poly lang, pwedeng ganyan lang yan, no? Ganyan lang yan. Tapos co-compensate na lang yung sa textures, no? Pero for now, I'll just add more edge loops na lang, no? Kasi medyo may curvature pa tayo dito, no? Right here, no? Also, ito pa pala, hindi pa natin nagalaw. May curvature din dito sa part na to, no? So, align nyo lang dun sa references nyo. That's how it is lang naman sa modeling, no? When you have a reference image, no? Always i-align mo lang yung mga vertices mo, yung mga edges mo sa reference image mo. Lalo na dito sa mga blade na to. Mga super basic lang gawin. No? So yan, naka-align yan. Para malinis yung topology natin. And then next, Alt 1 ulit ako.
Alt 1 here.
Alt 1 ulit ako dito.
Shit.
Add ulit ako dito sa ating curve dito. Right dito sa middle. And then press Q. Select yung vertex dito. Then move again. Freely move it. And then slightly make a curve. Move natin outwards yon. Yan. It looks more of a curve na, no? Nagkakaroon na tayo ng outline dito. Next, ito naman, no? Meron din tayong slight curve dito. So, move ko lang to a bit inwards konti. Yan. And then, I'm not gonna forget dito sa taas na to to get clean topology, no?
Okay,
so,
this one's
W.
thick, so I'm gonna scale from
Okay. Next, dito naman sa part na to, Alt 1 ulit, edge loop. Same thing, move it ulit natin sa curve. And then this one, slightly move ulit natin since may curve pa rin to. Yan. Okay. Ano na tayo? May natural curve na tayo dito, no? Pwede na tayo mag-stop dyan, no? And then, I can align na lang to. I can align na lang this one, move it. And then, align natin dito sa ating yan. Para straight yung topology natin. Ito, medyo mid-poly na to. Mid-poly na tong blade na to. So, that's how yung blade na natin, no? or when you're making mga ganitong type na blades, no? Yung may isang single edge lang, like sa mga katana, no? That's Alt X. Okay. So ang gusto kong gawin naman ngayon, gusto ko makita clearly yung topology natin, hindi siya basta naka-blend sa ano natin, sa ating model, no? So ang gagawin ko, add ako ng material. Ito meron na akong kernel material dito. Add ko lang to. Any of the empty material should do, no? Tapos ang gagawin ko, after lalagay ko na yung material ko, change ko naman yung color ng aking object to black, no? Or any tawag doon, yung eye-popping colors, no? Para makita ko clearly yung geometry ko, no? Yan. So, kahit na hindi ako naka-edit sa edit mode, no? Sa edit tab natin, kahit di actively naka-select to, nakikita ko yung geometry natin other than yung sa edge sa ano natin, no?
I got the blade.
Okay? So, nagawa ko na yung blade. What next sa aking model, no? Ano yung next ko dito? So, since na-start ko na yung blade, why not continue yung blade ko pa rin, no? So, dito sa blade natin, meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no? We have 7 parts, no? We have 7 parts sa itong blade natin. Since it's angular, I can also start with the box again, no? Start ulit ako sa box. And then should I also study ko muna yung sa reference kung anything special ba sa ating mga parts sa ating blade. Okay, it looks like pa-triangular yung dito sa dulo ng parts natin, no? Pa-triangular siya. So, pwede kong gawin, I'll still retain yung yung length segment ko dito. And then I'll try to align it sa aking blade, no? Para nasa center siya. So, ang gagawin ko, since nasa center yung pivot ko, press ko S to snap, and then lagay ko dito sa top natin or anywhere doon. Press Alt X to enter X-ray. Edit ko lang konti a bit dito. And centered na. Now ngayon, sa Blender, may mga chances tayo na, like for example, dito sa ginawa ko dito, no? When I try to rotate yung natin, like for example, tapos ko na to. Like for example, tapos ko na to. Example, ganyan lang yan, no? Ang gusto ko naman, gusto ko lang i-rotate, no? Gusto ko lang i-rotate. Pero ang problem dito, dun siya nagro-rotate. Nandito yung pivot point niya, yung origin niya, no? So, the solution for this one, no, is we're actually going to change yung pivot point natin. So, para mapadali, let's go to 1 para sa front natin. And then, we're going to select our cursor. And then sa cursor natin, select anywhere out sa object mo. So, somewhere here, no? I'll select dun yung cursor natin. And then, click natin tong object. And then, set origin to 3D cursor, no? So that way, kahit na ilipat na natin tong, balik natin tong cursor to world origin natin. Set, tapos, when we try and rotate, when we try to rotate, itong itong blade ko dito, yung part ko dito, doon na siya sa mismong part nagro-rotate, no? Yung pivot point natin. Ngayon, sa 3ds Max, madali lang natin ng pivot point, no? So like for example, this one, ayan, nakikita natin yung pivot point natin, no? Yung pivot point natin, ayun, no? Itong indicator na yan. Change our pivot point sa ating 3ds Max. You're going to select this third one right here. Itong parang flowchart looking icon, no? That says hierarchy. Select natin yung hierarchy. And then by default, nandito nakaset na siya sa pivot. And then press natin, affect pivot only. Notice the change dito sa indicator natin, no? Ang mangyayari na dyan, since naka-enable tong affect pivot only natin, when we try and move this, nag-move yung pivot natin, no? Hindi yung mismong object. Because we're basically editing na yung pivot natin. Pero gusto ko nasa center siya ng object natin, no? So gagawin ko, press ko lang tong center to object instead of manually changing yung natin, pivot point. So after that, na select nyo na yung center to object, click nyo lang ulit tong affect pivot only to disable it. And then yun, na-change nyo na yung pivot point ng ating part, no? So when we try to rotate, doon siya mag-rotate, no? Okay? Okay, so back to modeling. So I was here, no? Nandito na ako sa mga parts ng aking blade, no? So it's the same thing again, same process sa ating paggawa ng blade. Pero unahin ko muna dito yung thickness thickness ng aking parts sa aking blade. So convert to editable poly. Select vertices, select ko muna to to try and to reduce the thickness. Scale sa y-axis. So when we try, ang naisip ko dito, since magiging dito, parang sort of pa-triangular yung formation ng part dito, I need to afford some space a bit dito sa sa blade natin dito. Sa these parts right here. So pwede kong increase pa ito konti. Then ito naman, after na-reduce ko na yung thickness, back to aligning sa reference images, no? So align ko dito sa part na yon. Reduce ko konti yung height nito to there. And then babaan ko to konti. And for this one, since medyo paano to, ang pwede kong gawin is I can try to align this point right here to that point muna. And then try ko snap to para nakadikit sa edge ng blade ko. Snap ko there. Then edit ko a bit. Adds ko konti. Ayan. And then ito naman, select ko yung vertices dito, align ko dito. Okay. Now ngayon, it doesn't look like much yet, no? Kasi meron, if you can see dito sa natin, parang may pa-L shape tong natin, no? Hindi siya ganito. So ang gagawin ko, kalagay ako ng edge loop, count 1, and then ipo-place ko somewhere around sa dito somewhere dito na lang, no? Okay, so deselect ko yon. Select ko tong group of vertices na to. I'll try to align it somewhere dun sa part na yon. And it looks like nakadikit rin siya naka-align siya dito sa blade natin. So I can press snap. Press ko snap. Then I'll snap it right here, no? Yun. Okay, so perfectly aligned na. Align ko na rin to para malinis yung topology ko, no? Align ko na rin to. Okay, so yun. Okay, let's see if kung ayos tingnan. Okay. It has the basic form na, no? So check na lang ulit natin kung paano natin gagawin yon. It looks like dito meron siyang konting bevel, so pwede natin lagyan ng bevel doon. And then, or pwede rin muna natin i-resolve muna tong triangular shape natin dito, no? So ang pwede kong gawin, I can select these muna, these two vertices, and then pwede kong i-scale siya to try and make a sort of perfect triangle, no? So along y-axis. Yan. Ayun. Pwede pa natin. It can be get closer pa. Closer pa natin yan. Ay, ayaw na. Ay, ano pala to? Closer pa natin to. To give the illusion na it's a perfect triangle, it's a perfect illusion na it's a perfect tri, pero in reality, it's actually four-sided, no? It's not a three-sided face, no? It's still a normal face. And if I also notice dito sa reference ko, if you can look closely, parang sort of paano rin siya, no? Sort of pa-triangular din yung dating dito. So, gagawin ko, pwede kong gawin, I can try to move this na lang, no? These two right here, no? these two vertices. So, scale ko sa y-axis. And then, balikan ko sa ano, sa x-ray para makita ko kung tatama na ba ako sa blade ko. And to see if there are any sort of deformities. Pero looks like wala na. So, pwede na to. But, yun na yun. We've created na yung ano ko dito sa part ko, yung triangular shape dito, no? Okay. Okay. Next na, since meron tayong maliit na bevel dito, I'm going to add a bevel din. So, select ko tong edge ko dito. Control. Select my edges. And then, chamfer. Yan. Gawin kong 0 since itsurang flat yung yung chamfer doon. And then, yan. So, balik ako dito sa front view. And I'm going to edit ulit yung polys ko dito, no? Since it looks like hindi ako perfectly aligned, no? So, check ko muna to para ma-end yung bevel ko. And then, select ulit yung vertices. Double check ko kung perfectly aligned ba ako. Okay, perfectly aligned naman pala. Sort of, no? So, this one, it looks like nandito yung sort of itong point na to ng bevel ko dito, no? So, select ko yung vertices dito. Tapat ko lang doon. Okay? 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 Alright, so yun na yun. Next na lang, tapos na yung object ko dito. Ang gawin ko na lang dito is going to duplicate na lang. Going to duplicate yung object na to. So, balik ko muna sa x-ray para madaling makita. And then, I'm going to add na muna din yung same material ng blade ko para madali ko makita. And then, change it to black para visible yung edge faces ko. Okay? And then, select ko to. Palitan ko rin muna tong yung pivot point ko kasi nandito na yung pivot point niya. So, balik ako sa hierarchy, affect pivot only, center to object. Okay? Then disable, affect pivot only, and then duplicate ko na. I'm going to duplicate. So, shift drag. And then, instead ng copy, nilagay ko instance kasi this route, they're all the same, no? And for example, kung bigla kong gustong natripan kong i-edit ko to konti, lahat sila may edit since yung kinloan ko ng mga objects are instances, no? And dagdagan ko lang yung copies ko. So, since this is 6 na lang, so 6 na lagi ko number of copies. Then yun. We have your completed blade na, no? We have the completed blade na. So, since na-complete na yung blade ko, and wala na, tapos na yung blade ko, no? Next thing I do, once I finish a certain part of a model, since completed na yung part ko ng model na to, I can group these na, no? So to group, select ko lang yung parts na gusto kong i-group, and then go to dito sa menu ko dito, press group, and then group, no? Tapos lagyan ko na lang ng name, lagay ko blade mesh, then press and then enter. Okay. And ayan. So anytime na baka ma-accidentally ko ma-click to, hindi siya basta ma-edit, no? It's perfectly locked. Pero kung gusto ko naman na, for example, may gusto kong i-edit bigla, punta lang ako dito sa group and then press ko lang tong open, no? So that way, pwede ko nang ma-edit ulit yung laman ng group ko. Pero for now, I'll just close this kasi hindi ko na kailangan kasi tapos na. Okay? Sa Blender, you can do the same thing, no? So, alin ko muna to. Select ko muna tong aking cube, no? To group your objects, first select nyo muna yung mga object nyo and then press M while in object mode, no? Press M and then new collection. So, this is the same thing as grouping na, no? So, lagay ko dito, blade mesh lang rin, no? And then, yan. Okay. So yun, makikita nyo dito sa outliner natin, nagkaroon siya ng bagong collection or group na, no? So we have yung blade mesh na natin. So that's how you group sa Blender, no? Balik tayo dito. Next, yung next part na ko pwede kong gawin dito. I can make yung handle, but then again, least important to kasi it's just a simple cylinder lang naman. So pwede kong gawin itong wrist guard ko dito, no? Or yung blade guard pala, no? And then after that, I can do this, I can do the hand guard and then yung itong handle. And then tong last part na to, itong end-gon, itong triangle na part na to, ornament. So, looking at my reference, angular rin to. And it looks like it's roughly the same din. Medyo box type din yung reference ko dito, no? So, again, start ulit ako sa box since angular yung reference ko. Start ulit ako sa box. Any side will do. And the question is, do I need tong length segment na to? Do I need it? It looks like that I do not, no? Kasi wala naman siyang sort of sharp edge na pwedeng natin makuha, no? So, pwede natin bypass na yun. Bypass na natin to. Tanggalin ko na to. Balik ko sa 1. Then, align ko to sa aking object. So, press ko snap, move, dito sa center. Alt-X just to make sure. Okay, centered na. And then it looks like pareho lang siya ng dimensions nung itong guard na to sa ating mga parts dito. So I'm gonna follow lang tong dimensions ng mga parts ng blade na to, no? So convert to editable poly. Select vertices, select ko to, snap tool, baba ko to, snap ko dito. Ito naman dito sa baba, snap ko dito. Sa mga gilid, snap here. And this one, snap here. Okay? Okay, so we have roughly the same dimensions na, no? Pero we still need to align this pa sa mismong reference natin, no? Para more accurate yung model. So I'm gonna still align it, no? So, as you can see nga, hindi pa tayo masyadong dito. Tapos dito, since slanted siya. So, go back to vertex. Select ko itong vertex na to. I'm gonna try to align it right here. Then this one, move up dito a bit. And then upwards. Yun. Perfectly aligned na. Okay. So, when we turn Alt-X, yun. Also, from the look of this, parang may grooves itong reference natin, no? May parang grooves tayo dito. So what I can do, Alt-X to X-ray, is I'm going to try and add an edge loop, pero I'm not gonna make the grooves itself muna, no? I'm just going to put my edge loops right in the middle ng mismong grooves natin. So, lagay ako doon, edge loop dito. Then, roughly, I think it was around here. Oh. Okay, roughly dyan, no? So, yun yung edge loop ko. Then next, we're gonna chamfer this, no? We're gonna chamfer yung edge loops na to. Chamfer natin. Chamfer natin to. Let's add one segment lang muna. One segment lang, it's all I need nga. It's all I need, no? So as we add our chamfer amount in this flat surface, kita natin, nagkakaroon tayo ng cuts dito. So I guess pwede na yan or 0.1 na. Ay, 0.1 na lang. And then after that, press ko lang check. Dito naman sa second na edge loop ko dito, control left click to select yung buong edge loop. And then I'm going to press semicolon to repeat yung last command ko sa editable poly, which is yung chamfer ko. So semicolon, yan. So that's about it, no? Next, going to select yung middle ko dito, no? Sa grooves na to, no? This is the trick in making grooves nga pala, guys, no? So, yun nga. Always set your first edge loop sa gitna ng mga grooves natin. And then you chain for a route or add cuts sa tabi ng mga grooves natin, no? And that's yun yung magiging nasa top part natin. Yung middle part, yun yung i-scale down natin to make the grooves mismo, no? So, I'm going to select my edge loops. Oops. Select ko to. Select this one. Okay. Select ko to. Select ko itong dalawang edge loops ko. And then I'm gonna scale them down. Just a tiny bit kasi it looks like hindi naman masyadong ma-deep yung grooves nung reference ko. So, by eye, siguro pwede na to. I'll check. Okay. Okay, I think pwede pa konti. Masyadong mataas. Ayan. Okay, this should be good enough. Okay? Good enough na. Okay? So, yun na yun. Yun na yung handguard ng aking sword, no? So, what next? Do we have, may bevel bang kasama to? May bevel ba? May sort of bevel dito, a bit, no? So, bevel ko to. Select ko tong edge ko dito. And then, I'm going to chamfer or bevel. Select to 0 ulit. Para flat yung ano ko, bevel. And then, by eye ko na lang ayusin. So, any amount would do. Check ko to. And then, go back to vertices. Select ko yung vertex dito. Baba ko a bit. Try and align din out sa reference ko. And then, dito tama na to. Okay. So, do we have any bevels dito? I can add bevels na rin siguro, maybe. Add na rin akong bevel. Okay. Ito ako bevel. Repeat last action. Tapos, edit ko dito sa front view. Back to vertex. Oops. Select this one. Line ko dito a bit. And then this one looks like nandito sa part na to. Okay. Okay. So yun na yung guard ng blade. Ay. Then next, balik ako dito. Disable ko yung X-ray. Lagay ako ng material. Same material as dun sa other objects ko. And then change it to black. Para makita ko yung geometry ko. Okay? Next. Next is itong, siguro, lagay ko na muna itong, ano tawag dito? Handle. No? So, since yung handle, it's circular in a form yun, gawa ako cylinder. It's literally just a handle eh. So, gawa lang ako dito, random cylinder. Then, try i-align ko siya dito sa top. Dito somewhere. Alt X, make sure nasa gitna. At nasa gitna. Ngayon, pwede ko naman i-scale down to, pero before we scale down, mas mabuti ko na lang, manually ko na lang i-change sa parameters, no? So, Alt X ko muna to. And then, let's try to lessen this muna. Yung radius. And then, try ko i-align dito sa aking reference image. Okay, medyo kulang pa rin yung radius. Just a tiny bit. Okay. Okay, pwede na yan. Okay, so may konting problem tayo dito ngayon. Masyado nang lumagpas dito sa ano ko, sa current dimensions ko, no? So, it's either we adjust yung currently create yung mga nagawa na natin na objects or yung handle na lang i-adjust natin, no? So, may mga cases din tayo na ganyan ang mangyayari sa mga pag-model natin ng mga reference images, no? May mga cases tayo na hindi natin sometimes unexpected yung maanuhan natin, malalagpas tayo sa current dimension. So, kailangan natin mag-adjust on some parts ng ating model. So, for like this one, adjust ko na lang yung handle kasi di masyado ng mahirap na i-edit yung mga present na objects ko. So, i-edit ko na lang tong handle. Lilitan ko na lang yung radius to fit more dun sa model natin, no? So, adapt na lang. So, yan, perfect na. Hindi na siya masyadong dikit hindi na nakalabas para sa current dimensions natin, no? So, yun. Okay na yung radius natin. Next is height. So, pwede ko nang convert to poly na to, no? Convert ko na to editable poly. Select ko vertex. Lagay ko dito. Lagay ko na lang doon. Dudugasin ko na lang. Lalagay na lang ako ng yung pommel dito. I-cover up ko na lang to before I do clean up doon. And then yun na yung handle lang muna natin. Kasi this can be done all in textures na, no? Okay. So next, yung last three parts natin, itong itong handguard ng blade ko, and then itong ornament, and then yung pommel. So, first, since angular ulit, start ako sa box. Any box will do. And from the looks of things, parang mas wider siya a bit sa sa guard ko dito, sa blade guard ko dito, no? So, I'll try to take note of that. And select ko dito, snap, center object dito. Alt X. Okay. Then, move ko lang inward dito. Try to align sa aking dimensions dito. Then, siguro what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and align muna sa current dimensions ko. First, align ko muna. Let's snap. Ito. Then dito. Then dito. Dito. Okay. Okay. So, perfect na yung natin dito, no? Ang anuin ko na lang is yung thickness natin, no? Yung it's slightly outward yung natin. So, slightly ko scale up a bit. Just a tiny bit lang. Pwede kong gawin. Instead of scale na lang. Ito. Pwede kong select ito muna. Alt text. Alt text na pala. Yan ako to a bit. Outwards dito. Then select ko naman yung dito sa gilid. Then along x-axis scale to dito. Yan. Para perfectly na yun. Nako-follow natin yung reference natin since hindi siya perfectly aligned dito sa guard ko dito, no? So next, balik tayo sa front. Align ulit natin sa reference image natin, no? So, ba natin to. Then ba ko muna pala to para mapadali. Ba ko muna to. Ba ko to. I'll try to align this muna. Right there. Then align this one into here. Pwede na lang ako mag-extrude along dito sa path na to. So, lalagay ko to dito. So, pwede kong gawin. Ito muna. Lagay ko siya muna dito. For this one, I'm going to try put this one here. Then, align ko na lang upwards a bit para nakamatch siya dito. And yun. Tapos, back ko to a bit. Para ma-match a bit dito. Like ko to a bit dito. Since di naka-align sa reference. Okay. Sort of good na, no? Wait. Using ko to konti. Part na to. Kasi nawala na sa alignment. Okay, this should do na. This should do. Okay. So, next naman dito, I'm going to extrude along this path, no? So, lalagay ako ng edge loop. Edge loop ako dito. Somewhere around dito. And then, select ako ng faces. Select ko yung face dito. Oops. Select ko yung face dito. Balik ako dito sa front. Extrude. And stop ako dito. Back to vertices. Align ko to with the one sa bottom. Select ko yun. Since dito naman yung para natin sa extrude, I'm going to add another edge loop right here. Konting clean up dito. Select ko to. I'm going to align this one dito sa taas na vertex. And then, I'm going to select faces again. And I'm going to extrude this part right here. Then, extrude ko lang. Then, I'm going to try and move it right around here. Ayan. Downward. Okay. Then, I'm going to extrude again habang nakaselect pa rin yung faces ko. And then, move it right here. Okay. Then, move ko lang to dito. Snap tool ko dito. Go upwards. Then, it looks like na ano itsura pa ng pommel. It looks like it's still a part ng ng wrist guard, no? So, gagawin ko na lang. Extrude na lang ulit ako. Ayusin ko na lang to. Ayusin ko na lang tong two parts na to. Tapos, align ko dito. And then, I'm going to add an edge loop to make yung pommel to complete yung guard. And then, select ulit ako sa faces. Select ko tong face dito sa baba. Select ko to. And then, wait. Doesn't look right, no? Okay, it doesn't look right a bit. Kasi I'm following this. So, kailangan kong i-adjust to konti. Forgot. In-adjust ko nga pala tong yung radius ng aking handle. So, kailangan i-adjust rin natin a bit sa ginawa natin. So, this should do. Okay, that should do. Then, Alt 1. Sa fit sa natin. Okay. Then select the face. Oops. Select this face. And then extrude ko downwards. And then go back to vertices. Align ko to. And adjust ko na lang to a bit. There we go. Clean up, konting clean up na lang sa topology, pero it's technically done na, no? It's technically done na. Kulang na lang yung ornament. So, Alt-X. Lagay ko yung material ko dito. And then, change ko color to black para kita yung geometry. Okay. Okay. It follows na yung reference. Kulang na lang yung ornament. Which is simple n-gon lang naman ata to. So, pwede kong gawin splines, and then n-gon. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 na polygons. So, I'm going to press n-gon. Clicking create. Going kong sides is 6. Hexagon. And then I'm going to try to align this thing in sa ating sa ating reference. So, convert ko tong spline na to editable poly para magkaroon siya ng face. And then, I'm going to try to align this. No? So, align ko dito yung first point. Then, second point dito. Snap tool ko to. Siguro, no, hindi ko na kailangan i-snap. Slightly bevel to. So, manually ko na lang nilagay yung bevel, no? Dito, snap ko dito. Snap there para pantay. Then move it here. Then move this one dito. Sure, pantay dito sa other one. And then this one. Pantay ko dito. Yan. Kuha ko na yung manual na n-gon natin. Now, this wouldn't really matter na sa pag-render natin, no? Kasi it's a flat surface naman, no? So, gagawin ko na lang is, can I add a shell modifier dito? Yun. Add a shell modifier. And then, I can minimize a bit yung, so again, lagay ko dito 0.2 dito para pantay. Yan. Okay. Then convert ko to, then add ulit ako ng editable poly. Edit poly pala para may edit ko pa. And then I'm going to add naman siguro a little bevel na lang. A little inset dito. Inset, bevel na lang pala. Bevel. Oh. Okay. Yun na. Tapos na yung yung reference model ko. Add ko na lang rin siguro tong yung since I have time, no? ay yung sheath pala. Since the sheath is just one basic ano lang naman, rectangle. Oh, wait, actually, di pala. Looks like parang yung I'm just gonna add my own personal touch na lang dito sa sheath. Kasi wala akong reference for that. So I'm just gonna my own personal touch na lang. So gawa ulit ako ng box. Sa angular naman yung sheath. And then I'm gonna add one length segment para just in case lang. Then convert ko to editable poly. Then Alt X. Going to align dito sa sword. Align ko a bit. Okay. Ayusin ko to a bit. Then add I'm going to make the form of my sheath, no? So, Control 1, use yung splines ulit. Iniisip ko, siguro, ang pwede kong gawin, medyo, slightly thinner part tong sa sheath ko. So, ilagay ko na lang muna to dito. Then, this part right here, upwards dito. Then, these two, sa baba. This one, dito. Okay. Add muna ako ng isang edge loop dito. Para ako dito. Para bababa ako. Snap tool dito. Ayun. Okay. Next. I-edit ko muna pala yung mismong sheath. Scale ko to via the y-axis para baba konti. Okay, this should be good enough. Okay. Next one, siguro pwede ko lagyan ng edge siguro dito. Gagawin ko, select ko itong edge tool ko, itong edges ko dito. And then I'm going to chamfer. Going to chamfer yung part na to. Just a tiny, di pala tiny bit, no? Dapat lagpas dun sa parts na yon para ma-cover up. So, try ko lang lagpas a bit dun. Okay. Okay, that's good enough. Okay. And then, gagawin ko next, i-extrude ko tong part na to. I'm going to extrude this part. Extrude ko dito. Try to align ko lang sa reference. Okay. Then, select ko yung vertices ko dito para i-align ko naman sa kabila. Okay. And there we have it. So, yun na. We have the katana. We have the sheath. What else? Yun na, no? Complete na yung weapon ko, yung reference object ko. This one. Pwedeng konting cleanup na to. Pero this can be forgiven naman. Kasi Or pwede kong tanggalin tong edge na to para ating clean up. Okay. Remove. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. Clean topology. Okay. May matatanggal pa ba ako? Siguro lagyan ko ng konting touch and make this one a bit of a sharp edge. I think it looks good. Personality. Lagay ko ng material. Then change ko color to black. And then I'm done na. Done na, no? So, yun lang naman na parang short demonstration ko lang naman in making 3D model, no? Ito, konti pwede pa tong malinis pa. Tanggalin ko tong edge na to. Polyface. Okay, remove. Kasi hindi naman magagamit yan. Okay. That's it. That's it na, no? So, what we go is after I'm going to group my objects na muna, no? So, guard. Okay, group ko to. Group. Handle mesh. Tapos, okay, this one is gonna give it a group of its own. Sheath mesh. Yeah. Then ito, disable ko na. Then, itong sheath mesh. Yan po ng pivot only, center to object, make sure. Center to object. Okay. So, yun na yun. Duplicate na lang for presentation. Duplicate ko. Copy. And this one. Remove ko to. Okay. So, yun na yun guys, no? How are your models doing so far? May mga questions ba kayo na pwede ko kayong matulungan on how to create on certain loops, no? So, yun na yun. Label ko tong plane. Okay. So, guys, paano po mag-group ulit sa Blender? Okay. So, first, select mo muna yung objects na gusto mong i-group. For example, ito, yung cube ko to, tsaka group ko tong, itong plane ko, or itong picture ko. Pero ito na lang, sa cube ko na lang. So, select mo yung mga objects na gusto mong i-group either by selecting it, tapos, hold shift to select multiple, no? Shift, tapos left click, no? After you selected your objects, press mo M to new collection, to move to collection, and then click mo tong new collection. Then yan. Tapos name mo na yung collection mo or yung bagong group. Okay? So, dito, blade. Wait lang. Okay, so, okay. Okay? So, yun lang naman guys. Yun na yun. That's the end of my demo na, no? Kung may tanong kayo guys regarding sa pag 3D model, tanong kayo guys. Tanong lang kayo, no? If you're trying, if kung nalilito kayo on making a certain subjects, show it to me, and then I'll try to demonstrate kung paano ko gagawin, no? So, na yun. Paano po kayo hindi nagduling? That's years of experience. Years experience na yan. It's ano na yan. You'll get used to it naman eh. Pero yun nga, if kung ganon, if naduduling ka na sa model mo, like for example, like ganyan, no? Sa mga ang dami-daming mga lines, no? Syempre nakakahilo din yan. Kapag ganon, please do take a rest, guys. Baka mamaya magkaroon kayo ng motion sickness. Ano pa kayo? Mahirapan kayo sa future na mga exercises nyo. Kung gano'n eh, kung naduduling kayo or nahihilos na kayo sa habang nagmo-model, do take a rest, no? Wag yung tuloy-tuloy yun, no? Kasi ako never ako na duling ako sa nung nagti-3D ako. Pero it's ano lang yan eh. Minsan talaga ganun talaga parang motion sickness, no? Kung gano'n, please please pahinga kayo. I-try to rest your eyes or wash your face, ano yan. White flower katapat, okay. So, yun lang naman. In the long run naman, as you continue practicing 3D modeling, magiging nyo na yan. Mawawala yan, magiging second nature na yan. Ako, kasi for na ako eh. 10 years na ako nag-3D model. Ano naman ako. It's still okay. Pero lang yan naman yan. It's practice lang naman. Practice and then take a proper rest kung lalo na naduduling kayo or nahihilo. Kasi mahirap yung masyado tayo nakatapat din syempre sa screen natin. Nahihilo talaga kayo. So while you guys are doing your activity, yung exercise nyo, explain ko naman yung activity 3 outputs nyo, no? Okay. Ito ba? So, activity 3 nyo is polymodeling din. So, other than yung ginagawa nyo na model ngayon, other than yon, gagawa din kayo ng chess set, no? So, yung chess set na yon, I want a complete na chess set. So, you'll have your rook, you'll have your knight, you have your bishop, your king, queen, tsaka pawn, no? So, 6 pieces yon. Once you create naman one piece, pwede mong duplicate naman na yon. So, easy naman na siya, no? Yung modeling process nyo, it's completely up to you guys kung paano nyo gagawin. Kung gagamit ba kayo ng reference image nyo or pwede nyong or mano-mano nyo lang. Kasi I'm going to leave the the design phase of your chess set up to you, no? So, yun lang, yun. You have full creative freedom sa itsura ng chess set nyo, no? Ang ang request ko lang is after you create your chess set at saka chessboard, ang gagawin nyo naman, lagyan nyo ng basic materials na, no? So, explain ko muna kung paano tayo mag-add ng basic materials. So, sa 3ds Max, yun nga, balik tayo dito sa pressing M and to go to your material editor. And then as basic as sobrang basic na to. So basic materials lang, just leave everything be, or kung gusto nyo, explore nyo, sige kayo bahala. Pero I'll suggest dito lang muna kayo sa physical material. I-explore natin yung other shaders natin, other materials natin sa 6th meeting natin, no? So I would suggest just using this physical material. Ito na yung pinaka-standard and honestly, maganda na rin yung materials na yon. So, ang gagawin nyo, select nyo lang to, base color, no? Yung pinakaunang color box, that's your base color. Tapos, since ang chess set is just black and white pieces, set nyo lang to white and then this one to black, no? So, yun lang naman yun. Kasi add nyo na lang sa mga models nyo, no? Next naman, chess set, ganun din. Lagyan nyo rin ng basic materials. Pwedeng paiba-iba din yung yung select mo lang on different faces, tapos saka ka maglalagay ng different material, no? Pwede yun. So, again, basic materials lang naman. For Blender, kailangan ko ba i-explain? Most mga Blender users dito, nagpapalit na ng kulay eh. So, pero sa mga hindi pa, I-repeat ko lang. Balik tayo sa ano. Select nyo yung object. And then punta tayo dito sa material properties. Dito sa properties editor natin. Itong bilog na to. Itong sphere. Click on that. So dapat nakaselect yung object nyo, no? And then create tong plus icon. Add the material slot. And then create new to add the new material, no? So, like I said, just basic colors lang naman. So, papalitan nyo lang to, yung base color. So, we have your white. So, we have your white. And then, tapos, add ka lang ito bago. Kuha ka ng black. This one is black, no? So, yun lang naman. Ganun lang kadali, guys, yung pag-add ng color nyo. Now, do you need to render? No need to render, guys. Do not render. I mean, no, it's a requirement. Please do not render your assets. Ang ipapasa nyo sa akin is just a screenshot, no? Screenshot lang ng viewport nyo na dapat nakikita ko yung buong geometry ng assets nyo, no? Like for example, this one, screenshot ko lang to. Yan na yun. Yan yung ipapasa nyo. Tapos kung sa Blender naman, so punta lang kayo sa edit mode. And then, habang sa edit mode ka, nakikita mo na yung geometry mo, screenshot mo na. Okay? Yun lang. Do not render, guys, ha? Do not render. Gusto ko makita geometry, yung edge faces nyo, yung mga geometry nyo, ha? Gusto ko makita yon. No rendering. No rendering dito, no? Alam ko excited kayo mag-render, but please do not render for this activity, no? Do not render. So, yun lang naman. Chess set, tsaka yung ginagawa nyo na model ngayon, no? Yung ginagawa nyo na model ngayon, ayos lang kung di masyadong perfecto, kayo na bahala kung paano nyo gagawin. Kasi lahat kayo, magkakaiba naman ng magiging output, no? Yung design ng chess set nyo, kayo na rin bahala. Ito, display ko yung ginawa ko sa, nasa 3D mod ako. So, if na-recognize nyo, it's from an anime called Code Geass, no? Yung chess set doon. So, yun lang naman, no? Also, try to practice yung low to mid poly modeling, no? Don't go too crazy sa pag-add ng geometry or lalo na sa pag-add ng mga edge loops natin, no? Let's practice muna to low to mid poly modeling, no? Malalaman niyo naman sa yun eh. Parang it's gonna be a second nature to know na yung ginagawa mo na current asset na okay, low poly pala to, and then yung pala mid poly, no? It's gonna be a second nature to you guys. You'll know naman na kung low poly na yung ginagawa niyo na model or mid poly na, no? Like for example, yung dito ko sa kung hindi ko dinagdagan to ng kung nilinis ko pa to a bit, tapos yung dito sa blades, sinabi ko kanina, kung hindi ko nilagay itong dalawang edge loop na to, tapos kung nasa to, tinanggal ko tong part na to, itong nasa gitna ng mga parts dito sa blade ko, this is low poly na, and ready na to for a game engine, no? Pwede na siyang magamit. Pero for now, since yung naging output ko dito, medyo kasi dinemo ko yung paano paggamit ng mga ng edge loops, this has become a mid poly na. Madami-dami na tong poly count ko dito, no? Okay? So, any questions sa activity nyo, guys? Right. Yung like I said, yung activity nyo, just a screenshot lang and then compile your screen captures, tapos isama nyo na rin yung reference image nyo dun sa ginagawa nyong model ngayon. So, yung reference image, yung 3D model ng reference image mo, and then yung screenshot ng chess set, no? Yun lang naman. And then compile nyo lang sa zip or PDF, kayo bahala, okay? Yun lang naman, guys. If you have no more questions, I'm going to dismiss you early na. Kung wala na kayong questions, kung may tanong kayo during the weekend or kung habang ginagawa niyo yung activity niyo, and kung may kung gusto niyo magtanong on how to create certain objects sa ginagawa niyong model, let me know, no? Para matulungan ko din kayo, no? So, yun lang naman. Yung samples. For example, ito yung ginawa nyo lang na model ngayon, yung kay Dr. Octopus. Ayan. Itong mascot. Ayan, Hina. Ayan. Pero itong dalawa na to, this is example na to ng mid-poly din. Medyo high poly na pala to for a simple paper bag na parang mascot, no? This is already high poly na. Pero kasi ako, at this time, wala naman ako masyadong care sa topology while making this model, no? I had zero care. It's parang time waster ko lang. Parang it's like a creative itch that I wanted to scratch lang. This one, example to ng high poly, no? For a character model. So, yung nangyari dito, yung high poly, kaya ginawa ko tong high poly because I wanted to bake yung yung high poly na to sa tawag doon sa low poly ko para ma-lessen a bit yung magiging load niya sa Unity, no? So, yun lang naman. Examples ko lang ng high poly. Mid poly. Ito, high poly na rin. Kasi array to eh. Array yung gamit ko dito. This one, also high poly na rin, no? Pero, like I said, guys, do practice low to mid poly modeling for your output, no? Pero kung okay lang rin naman. Pero I do urge you guys, practice low to mid poly modeling for this activity, no? Practice as much as you can, lalo na sa starting from now, guys, I would suggest and I would heavily suggest talaga when you have the free time, instead of doing nothing, no? Ang recommend kong gawin nyo, do practice poly modeling, no? Because ang poly modeling, hindi mo siya ma-master in one day, no? Hindi mo siya makakram. Kailangan continuous na practice talaga yan. Kasi yung sa pag-poly editing natin, once you get used to it, magiging second nature nyo na yon, malalaman nyo na yung parang magiging basic structures ng mga reference images nyo, mapapadali yung pag 3D model nyo, lalo na pag gumagamit na kayo ng reference, no? Para din para din ma-practice nyo na rin yung magiging finals nyo, no? Para hindi kayo mahihirapan sa paggawa ng mga mararaming models, no? Because as you keep practicing sa 3D modeling, mapapabilis din yung workflow mo. Yung itong model na to, honestly, I can do this all in 5 minutes, no? Pero ang ginawa ko kasi, kaya it took more than an hour kasi as I was modeling, ina-explain ko din sa inyo yung thought process ko, no? Saka yung study ko dun sa reference ko, no? Pero honestly, this one, I can do this in 5 minutes. You can do this in 5 minutes once you have fully mastered na sa poly modeling, no? Super easy na. Kasi super basic lang yung design nito. Super basic lang reference images. And yun nga, basic lang. So, yun na yun guys. Again, activity 3 nyo. Tsaka, also reminder, guys, activity 1 and activity 2. Activity 2, 7 lang nagpasa. Guys, Saturday na deadline nito. Ha? Don't forget guys, pag natapos na to sa Saturday, next time na mag-o-open na to sa ating midterms na, which is March 3, no? March 3 na. And sa March 3 na yon, may deduction na kayo ng 10% dun sa 10 points pala dun sa deadline nyo. Okay? So, any questions guys? If there are no more questions, I can let you go na. Don't forget lang yung activities nyo, okay?
Sir, may Dropbox po ba net para dito sa
activity 3? Activity 3?
Yung sword na ginagawa namin.
For your activity 3, wala pa. Gagawin ko pa lang mamaya.
Okay po.
Okay. Yung deadline ng activity 3 nyo, again, like in activity 2, it's 1 week plus 2 days. So, February 12 ang deadline nun. Activity 3 nyo, February 12. Okay? Any more questions? Wala nang questions. You're free to go. There doesn't have to be a sword po, right? Yes, kung ano yung gusto mo. It doesn't have to be a sword. Hindi mo kailangan gayahin yung ginawa ko. I would suggest do something, do a model of something that you like, something that you want to recreate sa model, no? I also urge you na to try to start basic lang muna, no? Tawag doon? Kasi yung when we're tawag doon, like yung kanina meron nag-share kanina sa yung reference no. It looks like a sword no, pero tawag doon, like it's parang sword siya from game, nalimutan ko na yung pangalan. But yun nga, it's a bit complicated na yon, pero again, it's up to you, no? It's up to you. You have to determine first kung kaya mo bang gawin yun, sa tingin mo kaya mong gawin yon. Tapos and then second, yung paano mo gagawin siya, no? So I would also suggest din na don't be scared then to try and do yung mga complicated stuff, no? I would urge rin yon. I would urge you at least to try, no? Kasi ganun lang rin naman yon. Minsan trial and error din yung sa 3D modeling natin, no? It can be anything. It doesn't have to be a sword. Pwede ring gun or pwedeng a certain item from a movie, no? It's up to you, no? It's up to you, Nadia. Okay, laser gun. Yun, pwede. Pwede mong gawin yung sa Call of Duty, yung ray gun. Yun, ganda yun. Gandang 3D model nun. It basic lang rin yung yung structure nun. Wolf's Gravestone. Yun, pwede yun. Sobrang dali lang yan. It's literally lang rin naman yun. Parang Buster Sword lang rin naman yun. And ang maging pwede mong start lahat yun sa tawag doon? Sa box, no? And doesn't have to be a weapon talaga. No, it doesn't have to be a weapon. It can be any object, no? It can be any object. Yung like sa previous class ko, gumawa siya ng Dune Thumper, no? Kung alam niyo yun, yung Dune Thumper, no? So, it doesn't have to be a weapon. I repeat, it doesn't have to be a weapon. It can be any object. Basta object, no? Do any object that you like, no? Hindi exactly weapon lang, no? Kasi ang ginawa ko kasing example kasi is a weapon kasi weapons are the easiest asset to make talaga, no? It's great for beginners. It's great for kahit din sa mga veterans kasi nagkakaroon tayo ng short refresher course in adding geometry doon kasi when we're making weapons like yung sa mga swords, nagagamit natin lahat ng tools in adding geometries. Yung like I said kanina, we have our edge loops, we have our extrude, we have our bevel, we have our chamfer, lahat nagamit ko, 'di ba? We have our inset din, no? So, yun nga, nagamit natin lahat. Kaya magandang start kasi ang paggawa ng weapons for a beginner. Lalo na for when you're a beginner 3D artist, it's always a good start. Ako lang, ang naging first start ko is si Iron Man, which is stupid kasi I barely know 3D modeling at the time, no? Noong 2012. So, don't be like me. Don't be stupid like me. Huwag kayo masyadong overachieving like that. Pero, also, i-urge ko rin din naman yun kasi, syempre, malalaman nyo rin yung limitations nyo, no? Yung current skill level nyo. Kapag tinetest nyo yung skill nyo sa 3D modeling. Don't be afraid to to recreate higher levels of detail sa mga objects. Okay? So, any questions na? Any questions left? Itatanong pa. I'll be uploading yung recording natin sa Big